Hello folks, welcome to what is probably going to be one of my biggest videos on this channel. Obviously this is going to have major spoilers, as you can tell by the title, for pretty much every game in the series. But I will timestamp each and every game so that in case you want to watch just the specific games, ranking, you can do that. Today we'll be ranking almost every single boss in the entirety of the Yakuza series, and that includes most of the spin-offs as well, such as Judgment, Lost Paradise, Kurohyou, and the only spin-off that's not going to be on this list is Kenzan, because I still have not beat that game, and honestly, I don't know if I ever will. But that out of the way, let me just stress something. This list is not definitive, and what I mean by that is that there are characters that someone other than me might consider or might not consider a boss. So there can be quite a bit of variables when it comes to counting what is a boss and what is not. But at the end of the day, I'm just doing this list for fun, so keep that in mind first and foremost. In other words, just because I don't like a certain boss does not mean that I hate your guts, and neither should you hate mine. Now, with this out of the way, let's dive into this list. Now, as you can see here, I tried to organize these in a certain way, so we're going to be doing them in an almost chronological order. We're going to be starting with Yakuza 0, all the way until Yakuza 7, and then after 7, we're going to get into the spin-offs. So, let's get into Yakuza 0. Oh, one more thing. I added a tier that says can't remember or not enough knowledge for bosses that, you know, just generally speaking, I may not remember much of, or maybe for some unlocalized games, I don't fully understand the story, so a lot of them are probably going to be going there. But anyway, Yoneda. Now, Yoneda did a very good job for a lot of people to make them hate him, because he killed, you know who, one of the probably most, like, loved characters, or side characters or supporting characters in the game, Tachibana. This guy was responsible for his death, so a lot of people understandably hate the guy. But you can't deny that he did such a good job in making you hate him. But, you know, other than that, he doesn't really have anything going for him. He's just a piece of shit. You fight him multiple times at the beginning of the game as Kiryu, and then I think that's it, you never fight him again. So, I guess he's either D or C, but I'm not sure which one, honestly. Let's put him in C for now, because at least he has some story relevance, you know what I mean? Again, he doesn't have anything going for him, but he at least has that one thing, which is, you know, people hated him for doing something, and it was effective. A lot of people ended up just wanting to beat the ever-living shit out of this guy. But, anyway. Kuze. The first fight with Kuze. I don't know what to say except, like, fucking amazing. Not the best Kuze fight in my opinion, but still amazing. The way, you know, you start the game, and then you beat your way up to, like, the top of, you know, the Dojima headquarters, only for this guy to be standing at the top, and he's like, yeah, it's time for me to kick your ass. I thought that was really amazing. I don't even need to say anything about his theme, it's so good. And the quick time event that he has is also just beautiful. You know, they end up reusing it later, but we're gonna talk about that later. But overall, yeah, this fight is amazing. Not perfect, but really good. And then we have Oda. Now, we fight Oda once in the entirety of Yakuza 0. And unfortunately, I don't know, like, I feel like this guy, you either hate him, or you either just don't particularly like him. I don't know if I actually ever met anyone that, like, said up front that they love Oda, especially considering, you know, what he does or what you find out about him later on. But yeah, as a supporting character, he did okay. But when it comes to this fight, at least, I feel like it's very lackluster. No quick time event, no dynamic intro, nothing. So I'm gonna just put him in C, because he's an okay character in the story. Not completely horrible, and the fight was nice with him, but it could have been a lot better. And then we have Massive Man, aka Lee Wenhai. Now, the first fight with him, I really love as well. That dynamic intro, though, pretty fucking sweet. And he also has a quick time event in his first fight, which gets extended later on, but again, we'll get to that later. Yeah, I don't know if I have any complaints about this. I actually don't know if I should put this in S or A, because I can't think of any problem that I have with this. I guess I'll put it in A just because it's not... I don't know how to put it. Like, it feels like S should be for really climactic or conclusive battles, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna put Lee in A for now, because this fight was just amazing. And then, Kuze once again, but in the sewers, with a motorcycle. This is an easy S. I know it's not like a final boss or anything, but dude, once you see that motorcycle charging at Kurohyou, how can you not get pumped for this? It has like one of the best dynamic intros in the entire series in my opinion, and while it doesn't have any quick time events, I feel like just the build-up to it, the dialogue that happens before this, the setting, it's just amazing in every way. So this is definitely gonna go to S. And then we have Lee again. Now, I feel like the second fight with him wasn't as good as the first one. Maybe purely because of the dynamic intro in the first one. And also, I feel like the first fight felt more... what's the word? Impacting, maybe? Like, there was more of a reason to fight compared to this. And while this does have an extended quick time event, it just didn't feel as exciting as the first one. Because in the first one, he was a complete stranger to you, and he found out that a Yakuza is in his shop, like maybe he's out to assassinate someone, so that was pretty good. So I think this is gonna go to... I'm actually not sure if I should put this in B or C, but it's definitely in one of these. Let's put it here, I guess. It's better than Oda's fight, you know. Oda has nothing. So we'll put it there. Next up we have Nishitani. Now Nishitani, pretty interesting character to say the least. I know that this guy became a fan favorite for a lot of people, and it was sad seeing him go the way he did in Yakuza 0. Now the first fight, you know, now that I think about it, I really wish that he has a dynamic intro as well. But the quick time event that he has here is pretty damn nutty. I love it. The guy himself has a compelling character, one that I feel like you can't help but like the guy, just because of how... I don't know how to describe him even. Goofy, lunatic, goofy lunatic, he is. So I think this is gonna go to A. And like the dialogue that happens before this as well is very amusing. Seeing like Majima refusing to attack him because, you know, he's a customer at his club. And then Nishitani like sets up this whole elaborate, I don't know if I should call it plan because it's not really something that big, but he sets up like a plan to get Majima to fight him, and that was just funny. Like when he threw the punch at Majima, and it's like, hey, why are you not doing anything? But yeah, pretty good fight. And then we have the third Kuze fight, and while this one was pretty good, I feel like it's probably my least favorite Kuze fight. Because it doesn't have as much going on in it. I mean, you could argue about the next cutscene, the one after this fight, being a bit of an action-y scene, but the fight itself just wasn't that good. It recycles the same quick time event from the first fight, which is nice. I guess it's better than nothing, but it's still, you know, recycling, so I guess this will go to B. Oh boy, and then we have the fucking bit of sticks fights. I just honestly don't know what to do with these, because holy shit. They're just bad, okay? Like, I can appreciate this one, the Chucky-looking guy, for the design, I guess, for the reference, homage, whatever. But it's just so bad. I'm sorry, like, all of these, so horrible. Especially when you compare these to the Coliseum fights in Kiwami 1, I felt like those were way better than these. Because they have better music, and I feel like the build-up to them is way better as well. This one, it's just like, yeah, Majima's gonna walk in there with a suit, not giving a fuck about anything, looking as expressionless, as dead as you can make him. And the music is just not that hype either, so yeah, those are gonna go to D. And then we have the second fight with Nishitani. I like this fight as well, and they do reuse the quick time event from the first fight, but they also have a new one, which is basically a heat action that you can actually do, but slightly modified, in which they zoom in on his face while he's about to stab your hand on the wall, which I really like. I don't know if I should put this at the same tier or below, because I really do like this fight. Like, compared to Kuze, he has multiple fights, but not all of them are as good in my opinion. But when it comes to Nishitani, I think I'll put this in A. Especially considering what happens afterwards, which is just sad. Then we have Seira. Now, Seira in Yakuza 0 is very interesting, because it's the first time we see this guy fight. He's in his prime in 0. And I don't know what to say about him, to be honest. Like, he doesn't have a dynamic intro. He has one quick time event, which is pretty good. I feel like it does a good job at showing how good he is at fighting, but it just feels like he's missing something. I don't know what it is. He doesn't have a unique track. The fight doesn't feel very... I don't know how to put it. Different or unique to him. I definitely would have liked to see them do more with Seira. So I think this is gonna go to B. And then we have the second to last Kuze fight. Oh boy. I think just because of what happens in this fight, this is definitely gonna go to S. And especially with that dynamic intro. Oof. Yeah, this one was pretty damn good. It did a good job of pumping you up for the fight and just wanting to smash some skulls. There we go. Yeah, S tier, I would say. And then we have Kashiwagi. Fighting Kashiwagi as Majima, like, the concept behind it is so cool, because, you know, Majima is a character that you've known throughout the series, and then to play as him, let alone fight someone you know like Kashiwagi, pretty damn cool. I love this idea. He has like one of the most insane quick time events as well, and I really love that, because it became something of a meme among people from what I've seen. Because on Legend, I believe, it is like the fastest quick time event in the entire game, and I don't know if it's even humanly possible to actually, you know, see it and then actually press the button in time. Like, from the times that I did it, I think it was always just pretty much luck. And yeah, that should tell you just how fucking crazy this guy's quick time event is. I feel like I do wish they did more with him as well, but I don't know what more they could have done, because he just had a very simple objective in the story, which is, you know, for you to fight him to find Nishiki. So... I feel like I'm gonna put this in A. Um, Actually, no, wait. I'll put this in B, because, like I said, I wish they did more with this. And then we have Nishiki's fight, and again, fighting someone so close to Kiryu as Majima is a really damn cool idea, and the fact that they did this in Zero, really nice to see. And he has like, what, 2, 3 QuickTime events? And all of the QuickTime events that he has are just so amusing to look at. And his theme as well, really fucking cool. I love it. One of my favorite iterations of For Whose Sake. I guess the only thing missing from this is like a dynamic intro. But, you know, it's fine. Like, I like the fight the way it is. And then we have the final fight with Kuze. I actually can't believe all of the S entries right now are Kuze. But anyway, the final fight with Kuze, a pretty exciting fight to say the least. It's like the final showdown between you and Kuze, and they add I believe it's a unique QuickTime event, so there is that going for the fight. His theme is different in this fight as well, which is pretty nice. And yeah, I really don't know what else to say about this fight, but the problem is, I don't know if I should put it in S or A, because he's gonna be in S 3 times already, jeez. Like, I love this fight. I don't know. It felt like the previous 2 fights, those in the S tier. I don't know, man, I don't know, like... Let's just go with S, because this fight was really good. And the exchange that he and Kiryu had after the fight was pretty strangely wholesome. I loved it. Like, after all of these beatings, Kuze was, in a way, rooting for Kiryu to just stop all this madness. And I felt like that was nice to see. Yeah, so I think I'll just have this sit in S tier. And then we have Awano. Now, we fight Awano as Majima. We never fight him as Kiryu, as you know. And for you to fight a Dojima lieutenant as Majima, who is not really directly involved with the Dojima family, I felt like that was a pretty interesting concept as well. I like that. And the fact that Awano is aware of Majima's ties with Saejima, I thought that was pretty cool as well. And then he has, of course, he doesn't have a dynamic intro, sadly, but he has an amazing quick time event of him just fucking absolutely smashing a marble wall, and that was just beautiful. I guess my only complaint is that I wish he had a dynamic intro, but then again, this Kuze does not have one, so I really don't know what the fuck to do here. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like it kind of worked for Kuze, because, you know, he had dynamic intros before, and it's kind of excusable for him, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna put Awano in A. I really love Awano's fight. The theme for Awano is also amazing. But yeah, I felt like it was really appropriate to have a dynamic intro for him, but they didn't deliver. Next up is Laogui. Laogui now has a dynamic intro. You know, his fight is right after Awano, which kind of makes up for Awano not having a dynamic intro, but not really. Still would have loved to see something more with Awano. Now, Laogui is another one of those villains that they did a good job at making you despise him. So when you get to this point, you're just really pumped up. You want to start fighting this guy, beat the shit out of him, and, you know, have the story to reach a conclusion. He has unique quick time events as well. I believe there's 2 of them. And they're both pretty damn awesome. I just wish there was a quick time event that concluded the fight, but I guess beggars can be choosers. But other than that, I really love this fight, and I think I'm gonna take it to S just because of, you know, everything. The theme, the quick time events, the build up to it, it's so good. And then we have, I decided to include Sam Lee. Sam Lee, for those of you who don't know, he's Lao Gui, but in the Chinese version of the game, they hired a famous actor from Hong Kong, I believe, and they took his likeness and added it to Lao Gui to promote the game in there. So that was a pretty cool idea, and I appreciate that they did something like this. But if I had to compare this Lao Gui to the original one, I would probably go with the original one just because of how much more intimidating he looks. Not to, you know, trash this guy, he's great as he is, but I just prefer the original Lao Gui. And then we have Shibusawa. Now, Shibusawa's fight is probably as climactic as it gets. There's a dynamic intro, there's transitions to, you know, multiple places, there's quick time events. I don't know what more could you ask for. I think the only problem is, the only problem that someone might have is how good of a character he is. Like how goodly, is that a word, goodly? How well he's written within the story. Like, for Lao Gui, for example, I didn't hesitate to put him in S tier because he's just an assassin. Like, even if you don't have much going for him, that's not gonna matter, because at the end of the day, the guy behind, the guy controlling Lao Gui is Dojima. And I felt like they did a good job in portraying Dojima as a really hateable asshole character. So, in a way, Dojima and Lao Gui are one and the same, if that makes sense. And I felt like, in that sense, Lao Gui just, I don't know, like he's the kind of character that even if you don't go through a backstory or something, it could work, because at the end of the day, he's an assassin. What kind of background would you give him, if that makes sense? He's there for you to hate him, you know what I mean? But Shibusawa, on the other hand, he gives a like a monologue before you fight him about what drove him to do what he did, like most of the other final bosses. And I don't know, I just didn't find it that special, to be honest. But that aside, you know, motivation aside, this was a pretty good fight. I loved it. And I'm sure a lot of people as well loved it. You know, and the fact that he also changes styles, and you can change styles with him if you want to make it more dynamic. Pretty good stuff. So, yeah, I think this concludes Yakuza 0, and then we move on to Yakuza 1. Now, I didn't mention this before, but when it comes to Yakuza 1 and 2, I actually separated between the original fights and the Kiwami fights, because I feel like the original does some things better, and the Kiwami versions also do some things better than the other. So, we have prisoner number 13 something. I forgot his exact number, but the prisoner, nothing really special. I mean, you go to a prison as Kiryu at the beginning of the game, and this guy is like, you killed Dojima Oyabun, and now it's time for me to kill you. And then you find out that Sera sent him, and then it actually changes into a sub-story later on. I'm not sure if that sub-story is in the original, but I know that it's in the Kiwami version of the game. And you find out that Sera sent this guy as a very roundabout way of protecting Kiryu. Because Sera's logic behind it was that I'm gonna send this assassin to take out Kiryu, so that no other assassin goes after Kiryu. So it's so weird when you think about it, but yeah. Anyway, this fight, nothing special. I mean, it's okay, but yeah. And then we have the original Yuya fight. I think this deserves to go to B just because of how amusing it is. Fucking asshole! Don't fuck with Kazuki-san! It's just so priceless. Like, I feel like his fight dragged on more than it did in Kiwami. But, you know, the Kiwami version added a quick time event, which is really just a heat action that Kiryu had in Yakuza 0, I believe. But it's nice, I guess. But yeah, fighting Yuya in the original with the original, what's it called? Son of a Gun, I think, the soundtrack. It was so good. I used to love this fight so much. But yeah, I don't think I can take this higher than B because it's just Yuya. And then we have the Shimano family members. I believe the guy in the portrait has a boss HP bar, which is why I decided to include this. And in the Kiwami, you can do a Kiwami finisher on him, I believe. So, I don't know where to put this actually. I think this is definitely better than the prisoner fight, so I'm gonna put this in... No, wait. God damn it. I mean, this fight has Scarlet Scar, which is really good. I really love that track. And it gets you excited to beat them up with C or B, C or B. C, just because he's a nobody, I guess. But other than that, Scarlet Scar, good track. And then we have Massive Man. I believe he was called Huge Man in the original. That was, you know, before they decided to make it a standard name with Massive Man. Huge Man. So, this guy, he was nothing special, but the fact that he's, you know, a unique enemy with unique design, I guess, like... I'll just put him in D, because they could have made him tougher, and they could have made him more of a boss, I guess, but they didn't. And then we have Shimano's first fight. Now, Shimano in the first game was piss easy, especially if you unlocked the square 4 times rush combo, because you actually had to unlock that in the very first game. If you have that combo, you can breeze through this fight, and Shimano's not going to touch you, like, at all. But, what else does this guy have? I believe he had some heat actions, but, you know, that is if he touches you, but what are the odds? Because he used to be so easy, like I said. And then he has that track, Pray Me, I believe. The original one is so much better than the Kiwami version of the song. But I don't know if I should put him in B. You know what? Let's take him to B, because the fight was pretty good. At least the soundtrack was really good. And then we have Hayashi. Oh boy, Hayashi. Now, in the original game, I believe this played the end of drama, which is amazing. I think I prefer the original game's version of that song to the Kiwami one. And I believe he also had a heat action in the original. I don't know if he has it in the Kiwami version. I forgot. But if you fall to the ground, he's gonna do the essence of... what's it called? Essence of Pounding, maybe? The one where if you have, like, red HP, you basically go down on them and just punch them until they die, basically. That move had no limit in the original 1 and 2. But from Yakuza 3 onwards, it started to have a limit, I guess you can say. But yeah, he had that move, and I felt like the atmosphere for this fight was way better in the original, with the darker room and all. And yeah, I guess we can just put him there. And then we have Daniel Feldman, the first of the Coliseum bosses in Yakuza 1. Now, like I said, the Coliseum bosses in this game are miles better than whatever the fuck Yakuza 0 gave us. I mean, look, okay, this guy has a pretty cool design, right? But what the fuck is this? Dr. Kirito, really? That's the best thing you can come up with? Dedo Pancha, really? Like, what are these names? I don't know where to start. They're just so bad. Like, at least with these, they had, I believe, the End of Drama playing, and that song makes any fight better. So, I think I'm definitely gonna put both of these in C. And then we have Gary Buster Holmes. And I believe Gary was actually more difficult in the original. He had 2 HP bars, whereas he had 1 in the Kiwami version. And you had to be more careful in the original, because if you spam, he does this like move with iframes, which basically knocks you down. So you would have to like tap and dodge, tap and dodge, tap and dodge, which can get annoying, but I don't know, I still preferred this fight over the Kiwami one, because it felt like you had to be more careful. And he was, you know, tougher. So I would actually probably put this in B. And then we have the first Majima fight chronologically. Wait, no, not chronologically. The first fight in terms of release order with Majima. The first ever fight. And Receive prototype is just so good, dude. I love this fight. And I don't know what else to say. I believe in the HD remaster of the first game. Like the batting cage has these balls just fly at everyone, and it made the fight so much better and fun. And yeah, I don't know what more to say about this. I mean, your first fight with Majima, the track is good. I don't think there's quick time events. There is just heat actions that you can do on you, and it's just pretty good. I think I actually prefer this over the Kiwami fight with Majima as well. And then we have Takeshi. I mean, nothing special. Like, I don't know where to put him, honestly. C or D? C or D? C or D. You know what? Let's just put him in D for now. He's just, I don't know. And then we have Viking. I don't know why, but I used to love this fight so much back in the day. Maybe it's because of Son of a Gun and the fact that, I don't know, you're just beating like gangsters in the batting cage. That is just, you know, pretty cool on its own. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about this, but I really do like this fight. And I don't know if I should talk about it because I don't know if it's relevant, but Viking goes on to become like a professional baseballer. You can actually have a sub-story with him in Yakuza 4. And I think he'll ask you to play with him in the batting cage. Could be wrong though. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, good fight. Not, you know, wow, but good. The Atobe family. It's okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know. And then we have the fight with Shota. I don't know what to say about this, to be honest. Like, the cutscene before it with the door kick and everything, that was so good. But the fight itself just wasn't, I don't know, anything special, so... But you know what? Yeah, I don't think that deserves... Wait. I don't know, man. This shit can be difficult. Yeah, whatever, let's just put it here. And then the gambling, cheating guy. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this except, yeah, I don't think he's going above D. Shindo. Now, the fight with Shindo is so good. You know, there's nothing like major, like, you know, dynamic intro or quick time event. But the context of this fight, you just jump down and fight all of these Nishiki family guys. And the track, oh boy, the track. Was it intelligence for violence in the first game, or was that independence for violence? I can't remember. But the theme is just so good. I think I'm gonna put this in A. I think this is another one of those fights that I prefer in the original compared to the remake. And then we have, I believe his name was Shiraki of the White Edge gang. Oh, I mean, it's better than average. I believe he had the end of drama playing in the original as well, but I could be wrong, I'm not sure. But yeah, and then we have Bloody Eye, the Akai brothers. And this fight in the original, I felt like had so much more atmosphere in the original compared to the remake. So I think this deserves at least B. I don't know what to say. It's just like you're in this like dance club, Deborah, and it's dark, but like there's dance lights, and I don't know. It's just so good. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about this. I just really like this, and I think it also plays the end of drama. You know, fucking amazing track. Then we have Lao Long. Now, I think this is gonna be the first instance where I actually prefer the Kiwami version to this. Because, like, okay, the fight was okay in the original, but first of all, he didn't have his own unique track back in the day. This also had the end of drama. And yeah, I just felt like it didn't have much going for it, except that, you know, Lao is a pretty big figure in terms of like villains. I don't think this deserves C. Like, yeah, I prefer the Kiwami version, but this is definitely not C. This is at least B. Or wait, is it? I don't know, like, the fight isn't bad. I'm not saying this fight is actually bad in the original, no. It's pretty good. I just think the Kiwami one did this better. But anyway, Turning Point. Oh boy, Arase. I think this one is gonna go to B, because it had more going for it than Lao Kalong's fight. And, you know, taking into account the context of what happens before and after, yeah, this fight is pretty damn good. Turning Point, good soundtrack, but I think I actually prefer Vertical Point, because it felt much more... like, I don't know, exciting in a way that made you want to beat him up, something like that. But yeah, the original version, I still like it, but I just feel like the Kiwami one did it better. And then we have Majima's second fight in Shangri-La. And I actually don't know if I prefer the Kiwami one or the original one here, because... like... without taking into account the fact that in the Kiwami version, Majima actually changes fighting styles, it feels pretty much the same. The fight was pretty okay. It's a Majima fight, so it's pretty good. And I don't know what more to say about it. It was a good fight, but there's nothing really extensive to say about it. I guess one thing that I do appreciate is the dialogue that happens before this, where, so try to look at this fight from the perspective where Yakuza 1 is the only game that existed, right? There's no other Yakuza game. Back when you saw Majima, like, talking to... what's her name? I forgot her name, but he takes, like, a young lady in his arm, and he's asking her if she wants to be his girlfriend, and then she says, no, I have a boyfriend, and then he's shocked, and then it makes you think that he's gonna like stab her or something. But no, he just lets her go. He's like, you know, I appreciate your honesty. Now get out of here, it's too dangerous. That was a really good, like, insightful little scene that tells you a bit about Majima. So, like, back when you didn't have, you know, Yakuza 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, all of these, there wasn't really much to go on with Majima. So seeing this nice little tidbit, like, squeezed in was pretty damn cool to see. So I appreciate that about this part. And then we have the second Shimano fight. Pretty good fight, but yeah, I don't know. It's nothing too wow. Once again, framey, pretty good. I believe there's a quick time event with a car where he tries to throw you into a car or something. Pretty cool stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Jingu. I feel like Jingu is also one of those bosses that the Kiwami version of the game actually did better. Because in this game, I don't know how to describe it, it just felt like I don't know, it didn't have a lot of impact, if that makes sense. And like once you go to the rooftop, you can take him out with relative ease. His dodges, like, or his iframes can be annoying, but it's definitely easier than Kiwami. So I think I'll actually put this in C. And then we have Nishiki, the original Nishiki fight. Now the original, for whose sake, is pretty damn good. And the quick time events and the heat actions that were in the original are actually pretty okay as well. I believe he had that one quick time event that happens if he grabs you, where you have to like mash different buttons. And I thought that was so good. It was easy to fail them because you needed to be really fast. But when you pulled them off and you like punched him down, it felt so good. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. I think I prefer the Kiwami version to this, if I'm being honest. But this one wasn't too bad. I love this one. I'm just not sure. Yeah, you know what? This is gonna go to A. Okay, I think we're done with the original Yakuza 1. And now we move on to Kiwami. Kiwami 1. Now, the prisoner fight, I mean, pretty much the same, except that they introduced, you know, those Kiwami finishers, so it's whatever. Yuya, I don't know if I prefer the Kiwami one or the original one, but yeah, it felt way less impacting in the Kiwami version, I felt like, so I'm gonna go with C. And then we have the Shimano family members, and again, I don't know which one I prefer, but you know, since the original is in C already, I don't imagine it's gonna go any higher or lower, so they're both together. And then we have this guy. I believe this guy has like the boss trait as well, because he can do the Beast Kiwami finisher on him. So I guess it's a slight improvement, but still like whatever. And then we have Shimano and Kiwami. Oh boy. Now he is a big improvement over the original. I know what you're gonna say, asset reuse, I know. But in terms of survivability for Shimano, in terms of how tough he is compared to the original game, you can't really say that the first game did it better, if that makes sense. Like, the first game had a better soundtrack for this fight. The remix is okay, but I prefer the original. But other than that, like, yeah, I don't know. It felt like he was much more of a menace in Kiwami. Because also, remember, I'm pretty sure it happened to a lot of people. I remember getting comments a lot about this, but when people started out with Kiwami, they thought they were supposed to lose to Shimano because of how ridiculous the fight was to them. Like, you know, you had 2 HP bars, I believe, and you were pretty unupgraded at that point of the game, so it felt like, I don't know, pretty difficult for a lot of people. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure a lot of people actually quit because of Shimano and Kiwami, so let that tell you what it will, but yeah. I'm gonna put this in B as well, actually, because while I do think it's better than the original, I don't think it's good enough to warrant A tier. So, yeah. And then we have Hayashi and Kiwami. And I think I said before, but I prefer the way the original game handled Hayashi. Just because of like the atmosphere and all that, I felt like the original handled that better. And I believe Hayashi recycles Baba's moveset in Kiwami. Oh, and Shimano recycles Mr. Shakedowns. So a lot of asset reuse, but I mean, I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, if they had to dish out these games so quickly, they probably had to reuse assets. But yeah, I digress. I don't know. I feel like maybe C. Yeah, I have no idea to be honest. It's good, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this. And then we have the Coliseum fights. They're okay, but I think I have a much more firm opinion on this. I much preferred the fact that they played the end of drama in the originals compared to these, because I think in these they play like the normal Coliseum themes, and the normal Coliseum theme in Kiwami just doesn't feel that exciting. So, wait, where did I place them? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna actually place these in the, like, I don't know. It just felt like they were way better to fight in the original. Now, Gary Buster Holmes, where did I put him? Okay, I put the original in B. Now, I think the Kiwami one is gonna go to C. Because, like I said, in the original, he was a lot more of a challenge, in my opinion, than Kiwami. And he had more HP, and he just felt, generally speaking, more of a menace than Kiwami. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I think he has a recycled heat action in Kiwami, and that's really all he has. Yeah, I don't know what... Oh yeah, he reuses Izo as moveset. So there is that. Yeah, okay, the first fight with Majima and Kiwami. Now, I don't know how people feel about this, but the abundance of times you fight Majima and Kiwami just makes the story fights feel much less impacting. Like, you know, we love Majima, I love Majima, but his fights in the story just don't feel as good with all these, you know, fights with him going on. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there as well got sick of having to fight him again and again and again and again out on the street. They just wanted to go to, like, from Objective 1 to Objective B, and then there's Majima, and then they want to go back from B to A, and then there's Majima again. Yeah, I think the original definitely handled Majima better. Not to diss on the Majima Everywhere, you know, system. It's good, but eventually it gets so repetitive, and I really wish they, like, gave us a way to maybe turn it off or something. Like with, you know, random encounters. I believe you could turn them off with the Beads of Good Fortune, the random encounters. So it would have been nice if they gave us an accessory that stops Majima fights. But yeah. And then we have Takashi. I mean, again, nothing special. Not much of an improvement in the remake. B-King. They gave him Shinada's fighting style, and I don't know, man. Acid reuse and again and again. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I prefer the original fight to this one as well, honestly. And then we have the Atobe family again. It's whatever. Shota once again, and again, it's whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, the Atobe family, yeah, their appearance was, you know, the subplot with Takashi, Kyoka, and the Atobe family. It ended in a wholesome note, but the fight itself is just so generic. So yeah, I don't know. And like with Shota, again, nothing redeemable about the guy. The fight was just normal. So whatever. Shindo. Now, Shindo went to A tier in the original. This one... I'll take to B tier. I actually forget what song they used in the remake, because I think in Ultimate Battles they actually use a different song from the one they use in the main story for Shindo, which is confusing. But, yeah. Like, the thing is, they remixed Intelligence for Violence for Kiwami, but they only used it once, which was the fight before Shindo. Like, you fight random 3, like, faceless goons, and you never hear it again. One of the most questionable decisions. Why didn't they reuse the track that they remixed once again? I don't know. But yeah, whatever. Shiraki, same. Bloody Eye. They're gonna go to C with the Kiwami version, because, like I said, I felt like the original built them up, or at least had the atmosphere feel more dangerous. Like, I know you're playing as Kurohyou, but the atmosphere with them was more grounded in the original, and I really loved that. So, yeah. Now, Lao Kalong's fight is way better in the Kiwami version, just because of him having his own track, and, does he have new heat actions? I forgot. I believe he uses, I don't think I'm mistaken, but I've seen him using, heat actions that Katsuya from Yakuza 5 had. So, I guess that's cool. But yeah, I thought he had more of an identity in the Kiwami version. Because, like, especially if you come from Yakuza 3 as well, where I believe that's where he got his unique theme for the first time, you can appreciate that he got another remix, you know what I mean? And then we have Arase in Kiwami. Now, yeah, I think I'm gonna put them on the same tier. Wait, no. I think I'm actually gonna put this in A. Not because of the gunfight fucking style this guy has. I know that a lot of people don't like fighting him, but I'm mostly going off of the soundtrack here, and the context around the fight, and just how much you want to beat the shit out of this guy. So, yeah, I would take him to A. I think I prefer vertical point to turning point, and yeah, I don't know what more to say about this. Let's see. Okay, Majima's fight in Shangri-La. I don't know if I can say like the Kiwami did it better, because it's... If it is, like, it's not significantly different or better, so it's whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm actually gonna put this in C as well. Like I said, you fight him so many times, it just doesn't feel as good. And also, his theme in the original is way better than the Kiwami one for me. Then we have Shimano, and I actually feel like this is another fight that they did way better than the original. Like, it depends on which version we're talking about, right? If we're talking about the Japanese one, they have a unique soundtrack here called Receive You Reborn, and it's so good. It makes the fight so much more exciting, and I love it. So I think because of that, I'm actually gonna put... I think I'm actually gonna put the no, wait. Yeah, I'm gonna put the Shimano here. And now that I think about it, I'm actually gonna put the Shimano here as well. Because the Kiwami versions of both of his fights are better in my opinion. At least in terms of what you're getting in the fight, if that makes sense. He's more of a challenge. And when it comes to, like I said, the Japanese version, Receive You Reborn makes the fight against him so much better. Because it's the kind of song that you hear and you know that you're going into something of an explosive finale, if that makes sense. So good. Jingu. They did Jingu so much better in the remake, because he has a unique track for one, and he's much more difficult to fight. And I believe they added like at least one new quick time event with his special like bodyguards. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Now the original went to C, so this one... think I'll take it to B, because, yeah, the fight is good, but it's not anything, like, mind-blowing, in my opinion. And then we have Nishiki. Now, Nishiki's fight in this game, compared to the original, I felt like they did a good job at making it live up to all of the emotions, you know, all of the development that you saw throughout the story. As you know, in Kiwami, we see cutscenes of Nishiki that did not exist in the original. So those cutscenes kind of help us see what Nishiki went through, and maybe even sympathize with him for a bit. You know, that's not to say that what he did was right, but, you know, you get to understand the sequence of actions that led him to go down the path that he did. So you have a dynamic intro, a beautiful remix, and while they do reuse, like, quick time events, the idea with the flashbacks and all that, I feel like it makes the fight really good. So I don't know, should this be A or S? I honestly don't know. I think I'm gonna take this to S, because it felt really conclusive, if you will. And yeah. So that's it for Yakuza 1, both the original and the remake. Okay, so we continue with the original Yakuza 2. Now, first up we have Daigo. Now, Daigo's first fight in the original, I was gonna say I preferred this one over the Kiwami one, but I think the Kiwami one is pretty okay in its own right as well. But the comparison aside, I definitely really like this fight. You know, the rain, fighting in a narrow alleyway, and just having this like great boss fight for the first boss, and then you get to feel the heat prompt. Really good stuff. Really enjoyed this fight. I think I'm actually gonna put this in A, because I just like this fight so much. The atmosphere, everything is good about it. And yeah, like, I don't know, there's just nothing for me to complain about with this. I guess maybe it's actually gonna go down to B if we talk about the story, the context behind it. Like, it's Kiryu dragging Daigo to the Tojo clan because basically Kiryu doesn't want to take responsibility himself. You know, at the end of Yakuza 1, he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, bitches, I'm out of here. And then Tirada takes the reins, and everything goes to shit, basically. And now, Kiryu's like, hey, Daigo, we need your help to help, like, the Tojo clan stay afloat. I mean, that, I guess that by itself is okay, right? It's just, I don't know how to put it, to be honest, but I like this fight. And then the first fight with Ryuji. Now I know Ryuji is a fan favorite with a lot of people. A lot of people love the boss for different reasons, but Ryuji just doesn't do it for me. You might have seen that if you saw my final boss tier list. But yeah, like, I don't know what to say. Like, I think he has some quick time events in the first encounter. And then, of course, you have the Feel the Heat sequence, which is nice and all. But, like, what comes after that is, like, so embarrassing in my opinion. Because, Ryuji wants to stand toe-to-toe with Kiryu, but Kiryu beats him with ease. But then Kiryu himself gives him an excuse. He's like, yeah, dude, you just fought Daigo up there. Daigo's pretty tough. So we'll continue this another day. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're trying to convince me with a villain that's quote-unquote worthy, Ryuji just didn't do it for me. I mean, yeah, he's a great guy, I guess, but I don't know. He's too... He gives himself a little too much importance, if that makes sense. But yeah, moving on. Forgot this guy's name. De Silva, something like that? I don't know. I mean, I can give them props because he's unique. And it's definitely better than the fucking Yakuza 0 contestants in the Coliseum. So, yeah. I'll take him to see. Then we have Gary. Oh boy, Gary. I just love how he comes into the ring in the cutscene without anything on his hands. And once the fight starts, he has these big-ass spike balls out of nowhere. And I don't know what more to say. I mean, pretty good fight. But I think I prefer the Yakuza 1 fight, actually. Because, yeah, I don't know. The exchange between him and Ryu, you know, catching up about how Gary's Japanese is pretty good, like pretty amusing stuff, but yeah, I don't know. C or B, C or B, I don't know. Let's just put him in C for now. And then we have the fight with Majima and Yakuza 2. Now, I really love this fight, but I feel like the Kiwami version did this miles better. It's like one of the only fights that Kiwami 2 did better. So yeah, I'm gonna put this in B for now. The Kiwami one is probably gonna go higher. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. Like the entrance that he has with the fucking sick dancing moves. Do I need to say more? Receive Your Prototype returns. And I believe he has some quick time events as well, so good stuff. And yeah. And then we have Mysterious Foreigners, the ones that hit Sayama, and that pisses Kiryu off, and he's like, hey, where do you think you're going? I can't just fucking let this slide. I actually really like this fight. Plus, if you combine it with North Menace, this fight is just really good. I love it. I believe Kiwami 2 has its own version of North Menace, or maybe it's a different song even. But I love North Menace. It's a shame that we didn't get a track that sounds like at least close to it, or a close remix in Kiwami. But whatever. But yeah, I definitely prefer this fight in the original. And then we have Hayashi. Ooh boy. Like, where do I start with this guy? The original Hayashi had more HP bars than the final boss himself. I believe he had like 6 or maybe even 7 HP bars. Like, the tankiest boss in the story of Yakuza 2 ever. I believe Ryuji only gets up there if you combine all of his previous fights' HPs as well. So Ryuji gets like a total of what, 6 HP bars if you combine his 3 fights? Hayashi gets like 6 or 7 in one fight. That's just fucking nuts. Like, if they try to drive a point that Hayashi is, like, I don't know, adamant, persistent, they did such an amazing job with it in this fight. Like, honestly, this is probably S tier. I'm gonna take this to S. It was just so good. I guess my only complaint is that they reduced Hayashi to a lackey of some sort. He's just working for Ryuji. And then he just disappears. He never shows up again after this. Which actually kind of makes me want to take this to A, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I definitely prefer this over the first Daigo fight, so I'm gonna put this in S. And then we have, what's his name? Hashimoto or something? I can't even remember. But I think this fight was done better in... Wait, was it? I don't know, but I think the rainy fight in the original was pretty cool. The Kiwami version wasn't so bad either, so maybe they're just on the same tier. Shindo. Shindo's fight was pretty nutty in the original as well, because you transition from one place to another, and there's like quick time events, and there's just a lot of action going on, like, you know, for being a Yakuza game way back in the day. I think I'm actually gonna take this to A. I think I prefer the Hayashi fight compared to this, but this is amazing as well. This is like just great. And then we have the Jingwen Mafia members. I believe this is when they break into that shogi parlor that you try to find. Pretty good, actually. I like that they make their presence felt by just walking in, stabbing the nearest guy that talks to them. Yeah, pretty intimidating stuff. The tiger fight. Oh boy, do I need to say anything? Like, just S tier. So good. First time we fight with animals, I believe, as part of the main story. And it was just a testament, you know, of how powerful Kiryu is. And it was fucking insane. Like, it still is. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people find this like one of the best fights in the series. And it definitely is for me. So, next up we have Kurohyou, I believe. I mean, this guy is whatever, like, eh. Okay, so the second Ryuji fight with a katana. Again, I think this is not gonna go above C, because, like, for all the talk that Ryuji has about, you know, being equals or going toe-to-toe or having only one dragon, I just find it embarrassing that he feels the need to bring a katana to a fist fight. Kiryu has nothing, he just has those hands, you know? And Ryuji just decides to bring a katana. I don't know what that tells you, other than the fact that Ryuji doesn't have much confidence in his hand-to-hand combat. So, again, embarrassing for a guy that is supposedly an equal to Kiryu. But, yeah. And then we have Tirada, or what's his real name? Kim Daijin, I think. He's okay. I mean, I think I definitely prefer his original theme compared to the Kiwami one. It felt more sorrowful, if that makes sense. It had a more wistful tune to it. Like, it was the sound of betrayal, basically, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know if I should take this higher than... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm actually curious, what do you guys think about Tirada? Because I don't see many people talking about him. Do you feel like he was a good villain? Do you feel like he was a bad villain? I don't know myself, to be honest, but I'm just gonna put him in C for now, because... Actually, no, I'm gonna put the Kiwami version in C. Like, at least, you know, Tirada had more of a personal connection to Kiryu, so the stuff going on with him had more of an impact to me than the stuff between Kiryu and Ryuji, if that makes sense. So, yeah. But, when it comes to the final fight for Ryuji, I would probably put this at least on B, because... I don't know, like, the quick time events for this are so good, the track is good, the setting is good... But it's just that I don't like Ryuji enough as a direct, like, villain for Kiryu, if that makes sense. But yeah. Oh, special mention of Man in Black. I know a lot of you guys love Man in Black, don't you? Honestly, I don't remember enough of Man in Black in the original. But according to one friend at least, he told me that Man in Black is nowhere as bad as he is in the Kiwami version. When I say bad, I mean just absurdly difficult. Because in the Kiwami version, he has these knife boots, right? And you can't block them. So you have to eat shit, basically. I think I'm gonna... Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't remember the guy enough myself, but at the same time, I don't know. I think I'll just put him here. And now we move on to the Kiwami version of Yakuza 2. Now, Daigo's fight in Kiwami 2, I felt like was pretty much just as good as the original. Like, you can argue about some things, like the fact that Daigo has now a generic boss theme. But honestly, I really love the generic boss theme in Kiwami 2. And I felt like it fits the fight pretty well. It sounds like it has the same vibe as the original Daigo theme, in my opinion, as well. So you still have like the rainy atmosphere, you have a feel the heat uh, like sequence, so pretty good stuff overall. I still like this fight. And oh yeah, how could I forget the dynamic intro? I really like the dynamic intro in the Kiwami version as well. Simple but effective. And then we have the Ryuji fight in Kiwami. I mean, I guess it's like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I just don't know what to say about it, to be honest. Um, I feel like I said most of what I have to say about him already. The Kiwami version of this fight doesn't really change things for me. So, yeah, it's whatever. And then we have... this guy. Wait, that just made me realize. I think I'm actually gonna put the original one here as well. Like, I'm actually not sure anymore. God damn it. No, you know what? I'm gonna put both of them here. Because, again, a bit more interesting and innovative than the Yakuza 0 Coliseum fighters. And the Kiwami one doesn't really change anything. Gary in the remake, probably same tier. I don't feel like they did anything better or worse. So yeah. Now the Majima Kiwami fight, yeah, this is definitely gonna be at least 80. No, wait. Yeah, I think this is a good place for it, because that dynamic intro was so delicious. And like, while you could also make an argument for the recycled QuickTime event they use, I just can't... A lot of people can't deny how fitting it is for that place. I don't think I have any complaints about this. It's just so good. Yeah. Mysterious foreigners in Kiwami. I mean, I guess they're okay. I felt like the original did it better because of, you know, North Menace and the fact that they took longer to beat. And then we have Hayashi and Kiwami 2. Now, the original one went to S. The Kiwami one, regrettably, like, removes the original theme the unique theme that Hayashi had in the original version, which is, what's it called? Something Beast? Yeah, I forgot what it's called. But yeah, Hayashi had an original, unique theme in the original, fucking hell, I say original too much, in Yakuza 2. And then in Kiwami 2, they gave him the generic theme that Daigo also has. Which, again, don't get me wrong, like, I like that theme, but for Hayashi, well, why did they... Why? Like, why? I don't know. I just wish they kept his theme, and... I don't know, like, if I should blame this on the boss himself, or just the work put behind Kiwami 2. Like, you can fight... You can beat a lot of people in Kiwami 2 with relative ease, and a lot quicker than, you know, Yakuza 2. And while Hayashi does have a shit ton of HP bars in Kiwami 2 as well, it doesn't feel as much of a threat or menace as the original Hayashi. Because like I said, in Kiwami 2 you can drain HP bars so quickly, it doesn't even matter. And I actually don't know if I should use this as a negative for Hayashi or the final Ryuji in Kiwami 2, but they gave the final Ryuji more HP bars in this game. So Hayashi has up to like gray HP bars in the Kiwami version, and so does Ryuji. But in reality, the final Ryuji should actually have less HP, if that makes sense. But what happened is that the final Ryuji and Hayashi and Kiwami have basically the same amount of HP, which I feel like, again, it defeats the purpose of Hayashi being as much of a fucking hard ass as he is. So I like the fight in Kiwami, but it didn't feel nearly as good as the original. But yeah, Hashimoto, I believe, same. Shindo. Now, Shindo and Kiwami, I feel like, I don't know how to put it. So I believe Shindo had a unique theme in Yakuza 2 as well. And what they did in Kiwami 2 is they also have a unique theme for him, but it's different. It's completely different. So this is like one case where I actually think I like both of them just as much. Because, like, the original theme was good, the remake theme is good. Both of them have the transitions, like, from the Tojo meeting room to the courtyard. But I guess one thing, again, that I don't like about the Kiwami version is that you beat him a little too easily. And yeah, I don't know what more to say about this. Yeah, it's just probably inherently a Kiwami 2 problem. But yeah, I like both of these fights. I believe the courtyard actually has a different quick time event in Kiwami compared to the original as well, so that's good. Cool. Oh yeah, dynamic control as well for Shindo. Pretty good stuff. And then we have this guy, the Jingwen Mafia guy. I mean, same as original, doesn't really matter. Now the tiger fight. I actually don't know if I prefer the one in the Kiwami or the original, or if I like them just as much, because I believe... I can't remember if they took out a quick time event in Kiwami and replaced it with a new one, but I think I do know for a fact that Kiwami 2 has new quick time events with the tigers. But like, I don't know. I guess all the same, I still like the fight, but the original felt, again, way more of a menace, because you can just take them down so easily in Kiwami 2. But still, I love the fight. It has a dynamic intro as well, like, you know, good stuff. And the finisher that they did for the fight with the tiger drop in Kiwami 2 was just so satisfying as well. I love that. Almost makes me want to put it in S, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, don't get me wrong, still amazing. I love this fight in Kiwami. Kurohyou, yeah, whatever. Ryuji, I believe it's the same thing, except that he has like a dynamic... Well, actually, no, wait. In the original, they had a dynamic intro for Ryuji in this fight, which is different from the Kiwami version, actually, where he like scrapes his sword on the ground and then like just swings it around like it's a fucking wooden branch that you find as a kid. But in Kiwami, he just takes the sword and like says something. So I mean, like, it's whatever. And the quick time events, I believe, are the same. They don't change. And then we have Tirada in Kiwami, and I definitely prefer the original one to this, because it had more of a sad like feel to it. Because, you know, Tirada was someone you trusted, and then all of this happened. But then again, I don't even know if I can say like Tirada was such a good character. Not because of like, you know, I think like the betrayal was bad, but can you really say he did a good job with the Tojo clan? That's the question. But yeah. The final Ryuji fight. This is also definitely gonna be at least in B. I don't know why I moved this like from here to here. Just want to put it out there. I don't intend to say like, you know, for example, I prefer Lee Wenhai the most in the B category compared to Hayashi, for example. No, I don't want to do it like that. It's just, you know, I don't know. Put them next to each other, I guess, makes me feel better or something. But yeah, the dynamic intro in Kiwami 2 for Ryuji is really good. I fucking love it. I believe the same quick time events from the original also come back. I love the one where like they just try to punch each other and then like reverse the grip, and then it's pretty damn good stuff. But again, I just don't like Ryuji as a main villain, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, you feel for the guy at the end of the story and all that, But as a rival for Kurohyou, I didn't feel like he was that good. But yeah. And finally, Man in Black. Like, I don't know. Like, should I put him in D tier for being a fucking horrible, like, just super difficult boss? Or should I put him in, like, A or S tier for being such a challenging boss? I don't know. But I guess I'll put him in C just for the fact that they, I guess, tried to be creative with him, even if it sucked ass for a lot of people, with how difficult he is. Like, I can appreciate, you know, these little changes. It's whatever. And then before we move on to Yakuza 3, we actually have 2 unique bosses that were not in the original, as you know, which are exclusive to the Majima saga. Now we have, I believe his name is Kawamura. I mean, like, whatever. Majima cared for him as, you know, a newbie in his family, but then he chose to do the wrong stuff, and then that got him into shit and eventually killed. The fight has nothing really going for it in terms of, you know, dynamic intro, quick time event, whatever. It's just mediocre. Ibuchi's fight, on the other hand, oh boy. Like, okay, it doesn't have a quick time event, but the dynamic intro it has is probably one of the best in the entire series. Like, holy shit. And also, the soundtrack for Ibuchi is another really good thing about this fight. And I guess you can say the context behind the fight is also way better than Kawamura. So this probably goes at least to B tier. I don't know if I should take it to A because, again, it didn't feel like there was much aside from the dynamic intro and the soundtrack. Like, once the fight starts, he just tried to take his HP down, and he has a recycled moveset. I believe it's, who was it? Wait, is it Tamashiro? Yeah, Tamashiro from Yakuza 3. He uses the same moveset with the gun. So, nothing special in terms of fighting style, but other than that, really good stuff. So, I think I'll put him in B, actually. And I also know, like, a lot of people didn't really like Majima Saga because it was short, and maybe they felt like it didn't bring much to the table, and I can understand that as well. I think they definitely could have done a lot more with the Majima Saga if they just took their time with it. But for what we got, I guess, like, you know, we got one of the best dynamic intros, so that's pretty good. And now we move on to Yakuza 3. We start with Majima. The first fight with Majima I really like. It's basically a farewell for some time, and being the fight where this is like the first fight in terms of like release order for the Yakuza games where Majima fights you barehanded, but you know, the moves don't really change. It's just that he doesn't have a knife now. But still, pretty good stuff. And like the fact that it happens on top of the Millennium Tower and the exchange that happens between them, I like this fight. I actually don't know if I should put this in A or B. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put this in A because I definitely like it more than this Majima fight. Wait, do I? Fuck! This is so difficult sometimes. I think I'm just gonna keep it there. But yeah, then we have Rikiya. The build-up to this fight I felt was pretty amusing, exciting in a like non-threatening way, if that makes sense, because you know that Rikiya is going to be a character that you grow to love. So, pretty good fight. I just wish it had more, like, I don't know. But then again, Majima doesn't have like a quick time event or anything, I guess. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna put this in B. Tamashiro's first fight. I mean, I don't know what to say, honestly. Like, how many of you share my opinion about him? Like, his voice being so loud sometimes that it's obnoxious. I mean, I guess it's okay. Tamashiro as a villain, again, I think nothing redeemable, really. You just want to beat the shit out of him. In the first fight, you go and save Saki to bring them back to the Ryuda family. I believe he has quick time events in the first fight. With the brass knuckles, but that's it. But again, I feel like he's one of those bosses that, I don't know. There's other bosses that are more fun than him, if that makes sense. Like Hasebe. I actually really like this fight. The setting for it in Stardust. The design for the guy. Like the character design, I really like it. Feels unique. And I guess generally speaking, it's just nice to see the Nishiki family once again. Even if they're being assholes and dragging the Nishiki family name down. But whatever. Yeah. I like that Kazuki and Yuya join you in this as well. So, yeah. Oh boy. Andre Richardson, or should I say Mysterious Agent or Mysterious Man or whatever. Good soundtrack, the way he introduces himself without saying anything. Pretty good stuff. And I think he doesn't have any quick time events in the first fight yet. But yeah, I really like this fight. Kanda. I don't know what to say about Kanda. I mean, he has one of the most unique quick time events, if you will. But he's also probably one of the more annoying bosses because of just how he has like hyper armor whenever he carries furniture, and it can get annoying. I understand that full well. So I guess I'll take him to see. I don't know. And then we have the second fight with Majima. I don't know if I actually prefer that one or the rooftop one. I think I prefer the rooftop one, like, purely for sentimental value, if that makes sense. This one is good, but... And it has more going for it, I believe, like, you know... quick time events and stuff like that, but... I feel like the first one is better. Lau Kalong. Now, he has a pretty banger soundtrack here. The first time they gave him a unique soundtrack. And unfortunately, this is also one of the most annoying bosses in Yakuza 3, especially if you don't have most of the stuff unlocked. Like, say, you don't have the Tiger Drop, you don't have the knockback, you don't have the parry. This is gonna be so annoying. Like, I don't know, like... It's a good fight, but... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I think he has a quick time event as well, which is actually not obligatory. It happens by chance, where he uses his claws or something, and then he tries to attack you, and then he brings out knives from his boots. Pretty crazy shit, but pretty cool. But yeah, can be one of the most annoying bosses to fight, like I said, so whatever. Oof, and then we have Yoji Kazama. I think this is another one of those bosses that's a fan favorite. Everything down from the setting, the soundtrack, even the quick time event or events that exist in this fight, and just generally speaking, Yoji Kazama as an opponent. A lot of people love Kazama for, you know, understandable reasons. I mean, you know, the questionable, long-lost twin brother fucking plot point aside, Yoji Kazama is a pretty damn good character. And I enjoyed the bits where Kiryu talks about, you know, if he was in his prime, Kiryu probably wouldn't be able to beat him. Which kind of goes to show just how strong this guy is, even at his age. And I guess it also kind of tells us that even Shintaro Kazama was a force to be reckoned with if his brother is this powerful. So yeah, Really good fight. Has sentimental value, you know, because Kiryu's basically fighting his dead father, so I don't know what more to say. I guess like the only reason this doesn't go to S, I actually don't know. No, you know what? This is gonna go to S. This fight is so good. It's gonna sit at S. I just wish it had a dynamic intro, but I guess dynamic intros weren't really a norm yet. But, you know, Yakuza 3's final boss has one, but we'll get to that later. And then we have Tamashiro's second fight in the ring. The bull ring. I mean, whatever. Not the most fun boss to fight once again. But I guess the bull... No, wait. I was gonna say, I guess, like, that sequence in the bull arena is exciting, but honestly, questionable. His fight, after you beat his goons, he fucking calls more goons by shooting in the air, and I can see why, you know, someone might not like this fight as much, and yeah, I guess it's the same for me. There's definitely other better fights out there. And then we have Richardson again, and I actually prefer this second fight more than any other fight with him, purely because it feels more... I actually don't know how to word it, but the way that he takes off his sunglasses, and I don't know how to put it really. But this fight just feels way cooler than the other fights. And also the fact that after you beat him, you see that little cutscene where he gets up, like just moves his fingers. Very Mr. X-like from Resident Evil 2. The original. Like, in the original Resident Evil 2, if you take down Mr. X in a certain room, and then you try to leave, you will see a certain cutscene in which, you know, Mr. X gets up. Reminds me a lot of that, and I really love this. The final fight with Richardson, also pretty good. I like it. But I don't know if I should put it in B or in A. I guess I'll put it in A. Just because of, like, the cool-ass quick-time events. And the fucking... Hey! Go to hell. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. I don't know what more to say. Richardson is, like, one of the only foreign... Well, maybe we have a lot of foreign villains, but... He's, like, the only... like English or American main villain that we ever had, isn't he? So I guess that alone makes him stand out. And also, the fact that he's pretty much a Wesker copy just makes him that much better. Like, I don't know. This guy is cool. I like him. And then we have Mine. And I think I actually prefer Richardson more than Mine. I mean, Mine was cool, but it just felt like, when you think about it, his motivation is kind of dumb. Because, think about it, okay? Daigo's been shot, right? But he still has a chance of survival. Right? With me so far? And Mine goes and he's like, yo, I'm gonna end this guy's life because that's not Daigo anymore. Or because, like... Dude, there's a chance that he's gonna get up and continue life as normal. What part of that do you not understand? Like, I don't know, when I think about that part, Mine is just... I don't know. Like, I guess you could make a case for him where he's blinded by an emotion or something, but... I don't know, it still felt dumb for me, to be honest, so... Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll just put him in B. I definitely like... I think I definitely prefer Mine over Ryuji, though. So I think with this, we're actually finished with Yakuza 3. And now we have Yakuza 4. Now, Yakuza 4, we start off with Ihara. Now, the guy is nothing special, but he has rebellions. Amazing. soundtrack. So for this, he gets C at least. And also, he gets one quick time event, or Feel the Heat sequence. So, good stuff. And then we have this guy, Midorikawa, I believe, the chainsaw guy. I actually really like this fight. Having a chainsaw opponent was a first. And I don't know, I just really appreciated that. And the fact that we have a quick time event with the chainsaw as well, really good stuff. And then Minami. Ooh, Minami. Let's see. I think I'm actually gonna take this to A, because this fight was really good. And seeing them create more recognizable people from the Majima family, that just gives him points for me, if that makes sense. Because, like, we know Majima. We know that he has a family under him, but we didn't really see anyone from there. Like, the only one we saw was Nishida, I believe, in Yakuza 2. Which is, he's a lovable character. A lot of people like Nishida, because he's just a wholesome boy. And now that we can meet someone new, and someone as well-written or likable as Minami as well, it's nice. He wasn't really an enemy, but he's just someone that happened to be in your way, and you dealt with him accordingly. Now, he has a dynamic intro, he has a unique track, he has quick time events, just good stuff all around. And can I just say how good his karaoke singing is? Okay, so we have Saito next. Now, Saito, you fight him multiple times in the prison, but I decided to just make it into one icon there for all the prison fights. But especially like the final prison fight before you actually escape. I felt like the guy had that I don't know if I should call it intimidation or persistence factor. But he had something compelling about him, if that makes sense. He kept coming back, and it pretty much never looked like he was sick of it, if that makes sense. So that alone kind of made him not terrifying, but it made him, I don't know what's the word. Like a light word for threatening. But yeah. Kiryu Kazuma. Do I need to say anything? Like, just take him to S tier, dude. Dynamic intro. Music. You got the setting. You got a quick time event. Which, fun fact, by the way, the quick time event for Kiryu here is recycled from Yakuza 3. But it's recycled from a minigame. So a lot of people might not recognize that. They changed, or they altered the quick time event. Wait, did they? No, I think it's actually the same. But yeah, they reused the quick time event from when Kiryu fights himself in the IF7 minigame, I believe. But it worked. I mean, like, it fits perfectly in this fight. I guess my only complaint is that I actually wish he was more difficult to fight, because it felt like if you wanted to, you could take him out with relative ease, unfortunately. But maybe that's because you're fighting as Saejima, which, he's a fucking beast to begin with. But yeah, great fight. Oh, and actually, I guess one more tidbit. It kinda told us how powerful Saejima is himself, so that's cool. And then we have... how do you pronounce his name? Ivan Ibrahimovic, I think. A pretty cool fight. Nothing too special. I appreciate that it had rebellions. It had a quick time event. That's about it. But pretty cool fight. And the speech that comes after it is actually pretty damn cool as well. I don't know what to say. Like, people wanted Saejima to kill this guy because it's a deathmatch, but Saejima was like, shut the fuck up, you don't know how it is like to kill people. I don't know, should it be B? Should it be C? Yeah, I think I definitely prefer this over Ihara and Saito, so... Okay, Minami's second fight. Now, Minami's second fight is pretty good, But I think I definitely prefer the first one, because it felt more personal, if that makes sense. This one was just like a test, if you will. I know how cheesy or cliche it is, but they wanted to see if Saejima was the real deal, and if you could take them all out, so that Majima shows up, or something like that. But yeah. There is actually a quick time event here as well, but I really don't like the fact that it's... I don't even know if I should call it optional, or if it's just it has a low chance of triggering. But yeah, I wish it just triggered no matter what you did. But you know, whatever. It's basically the same quick time event from the first fight, but altered to match Saejima. We have Majima after that. And this Majima fight, I think I can take it to A, because the remix for Receive You is so good. The build-up to this fight is also really good, because, you know, Saejima's looking for answers, and Majima's being kind of, like, dodging the answers. I mean, dodging the questions, whatever. And then you just have one badass fight. I like it. Plus, can we talk about the fucking spin Beyblade move that Majima has? I believe it has a recycled quick time event. The same one you have in Yakuza 3 against Majima. And I think they use it in Yakuza 2 as well. And then there's a new one at the end, so that's appreciated. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about this. Pretty good fight. Pretty good track. Oh yeah, dynamic intro as well. So, that's something. And then we have Suguchi. Suguchi is an interesting boss, because he's not outright evil. He kinda grows to be sick of, you know, being a corrupt cop. But I guess he's not even a cop to begin with. He's just a Yakuza disguised as a cop, so corruption comes with the territory, I suppose. But I felt like Suguchi was a really good boss. The soundtrack that he has is unique. It's kind of different from all the other tracks. He has a dynamic intro. The fight was personal to Tanimura. What else is there? I believe there's QuickTime events as well, but they're optional. Oh yeah, speaking of QuickTime events, I like that the dynamic intro ties in with a QuickTime event as well. So you have that, and then I think if you fall down, there's a chance that he's gonna do a QuickTime event on you. So pretty cool stuff overall. Actually, wait, I think... Should this go down? Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's just leave it there. I don't want to think too much and then delay, like, the other entries. But anyway. After Suguchi, we have Saito again, but this time we fight him as Kiryu. And I actually like this kind of stuff. Like, you fight a villain as someone, and then you fight the same villain as someone else. It kind of creates a connection that is interesting to see play out. But is this better than the prison one? I honestly don't know. Like, again, Rebellion's plays here, so good stuff. There's a quick time event as you go down the stairs. But yeah, he's... I don't know. It's a good fight, but it's not as good as these up here. Oh boy, and then we have Tanimura and Akiyama. Like, I don't think I need to say anything as well. This is S tier. Like, so fucking good. Like, fights where you fight protagonists, usually, in this series, are top tier for me. And this one delivers as well, because there's a beautiful dynamic intro. You fight two protags at once. The soundtrack is amazing, same one from the Saejima fight. And the quick time event that happens is also just... Man, I don't know, dude. Such good stuff. And then seeing them being beaten by Kiryu with relative ease, compared to, you know, someone like Saejima, who he struggled with, it's just really interesting to see playing out, you know what I mean? It just tells you as well, like, how much more powerful Saejima and Kiryu are compared to Akiyama and Tanimura. And, like, Tanimura and Akiyama aren't weak by any means either. They're just not as strong as Kiryu or Saejima, you know? Which is terrifying. And then we have the final fights in Yakuza 4. We have Arai. And I actually really like Arai's fight. Like, Arai is not really a memorable villain, but the fight, I can appreciate the fight. The quick time event that comes at the end, just amazing. Kido, like, same thing, but I feel like, I don't know how to put this. I love the dynamic intro for Kido, and I love the quick time event as well. But I feel like when you put Kido next to Saejima, like, you're putting a tiger next to a cat, so yeah. And I feel like their solution to this was to give Kido hyper armor to kind of make it feel fair. But if you have Herculean spirit, that's not gonna matter, so. And then we have the fight with Daigo. Pretty good. But I actually don't know if I... Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna be C or B for me. Like, it's a good fight. There's a dynamic intro that's pretty hype. The track is quiet, but really fitting. There's quick time events, I believe 2 of them. So really, there's not really, like, a lot to complain about when it comes to the fight itself. But, yeah, like, I don't know. Daigo kind of fucked up in this game. I guess you can argue he was trying to do what's best, or what he thought was best for Tojo, but still. Whereas with someone like Arai is kinda more complicated, I guess, to talk about. Like, I believe he's a cop disguising as a Yakuza. I can't even remember that, to be honest. Like, stories of Yakuza 4 and 5. Yikes. But, I guess when he saw all that money, when he saw, like, just how fucking much he could make, that tempted him. So Akiyama is there to lecture him about it. But then again, it's the same for all of these final bosses, really. It just feels like, I don't know, Arai's fight was the better out of the bunch. I mean, I can appreciate the dynamic intro, but the QuickTime event felt kinda lackluster, if I'm being honest. Could have been way better. This guy, like, as a character, is definitely, like, as bottom of the bottomest tier, as bottom as it gets. But, you know, like I said, yeah, I guess I'll just have him chill there, I don't know. I don't know, man, like, I want to put him here just because of the dynamic intro and the soundtrack, but then I think, do I really like this fight as much as Daigo? Or Kido? Or even, like, I don't know, Gary? Or so, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna put him here. Yeah, I think that's all for Yakuza 4, right? We move on to Yakuza 5, aka my least favorite Yakuza game in terms of story. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna talk about the story, we're just here to talk about the bosses for the most part. Now we have the Yamagasa family members, I believe. Bar fight. Pretty okay. Like, you're in a hostess club and then these guys are causing a ruckus. And then you fight them, there's a quick time event, which is pretty cool. But beyond that, it's nothing too much, I guess. Actually, now that I think about it, I probably should put this down here. Because the Daigo fight was much better. But yeah, I don't know. Then we have Aizawa and Morinaga. Also a good fight, had a good quick time event, but I mean, it's whatever. Yahata. I don't know what to say about him, to be honest. Like, he had a quick time event that became a heat action in Yakuza 0 for Rush style, so that's cool. But I don't know, man. I... I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna fucking suffer with the Yakuza 5 listings. And then we have the one punch fucking battle. Again, whatever. Actually not... Oh, this is a fucking mess. Kugihara, I mean, whatever, but... he didn't even have a dynamic intro or a quick time event, nothing, so... D. Like, I like his design, I guess, with the fucking huge scar, but they could have done more with him. Oh boy, the fucking huge bear. Or massive bear, or whatever. This one is definitely gonna go to at least A tier. Like, just for the idea behind it. Saejima fighting a big-ass bear? Hell fucking yeah. The quick time event that came with it as well is pretty sick. Actually, two quick time events, I believe. But the finishing one was so good. So, yeah, I don't know, like... I really don't know, dude, like... Baba's fight, I can respect the soundtrack and the quick time event that comes at the end. Not bad. Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna take these down here. Like, they're okay. They're definitely not as bad as, say, the fucking Yakuza 0 underground fighters. But, yeah, I don't know. What's this guy's name? Hamada? Hakamada? I can't remember. But yeah, like, who the fuck is this? And then we have Ogita. And like, Ogita as a character is kinda interesting, but he had pretty much nothing in his fight. The capoeira was pretty interesting, but there's no quick time event. There is... Like, what's the point of his fighting style if all he does is spam that one fucking grab move? It's... yeah, sorry. And then we have Kanai, which I can actually kinda respect, because he has, I believe, 2 quick time events in the first fight. The one where he tries to smack you, and then the one where Haruka throws a fire extinguisher at you to use on him. So, good stuff. Actually, I'm even thinking of taking one of these to B, but I don't know. This guy again, yeah, fucking go there. Kanai's second fight, I actually liked as well. I believe you get the same quick time event from the first fight, where he tries to smack you, and then towards the end you get, you know, the feel the heat action, where you kick multiple of them, and then you kick Kanai in the face. Pretty good stuff. And I believe he also has a unique theme here, so that's cool. And then this guy, oh no, whatever. But I will talk about one thing about this guy. His battle effect is actually really cool. I like his battle, like, fire, or whatever you want to call it. It's like an aqua... no, not an aqua, like a dark blue fire cube something, but I don't know how to describe it, but that's one thing that I like about this guy, so whatever. Sakai, whatever. What's this guy's name? Manabe? Manabe-san, I think? I mean, he has a quick time event, but... I don't know, man. Whatever, I guess we can just keep him to see. And then we have Daigo. Now, Daigo's fight in this game is actually pretty damn good. I like it. Now, the question is, am I gonna put it in B or A? I think I'm actually gonna keep it at B, just because of how fucking stupid some of the stuff that happens before and after this fight. Now, it has an amazing dynamic intro. It has an amazing track. The Japanese one is different from the English one, but I think I actually prefer the English one for once. And there's a quick time event at the end, which is pretty unique because it's not a quick time event that shows you beating the enemy. It's more of a standstill, if that makes sense. So it ends in a tie, and once you beat the fight, you see that, yeah, Daigo does fall down, but Shinada's way more exhausted. So it's more like Shinada survived against Daigo. So it's actually nice to see some respect being given to Daigo here. But what drags this fight down for me, I guess, is Shinada, because Daigo's really just trying to help Shinada out, get his job back and all that. But Shinada's like, no, I'm not gonna let a fucking Yakuza, like, give me back my dream, like the way they took it from me many years ago. Like, I get what Shinada's trying to say, but dude, Daigo's not just any Yakuza. Like, first of all, he's your friend, and he genuinely is just looking out for you. Why are you refusing his help? Why are you even fighting him to prove the point? It's so stupid. Yeah, I don't know, like... Story aside, this is I think this is gonna sit at B. And then we have Baba again, and this is... Yeah, this is worse than the first fight, because... Like, it comes out of nowhere, he's like, hey Kiryu, you're Kiryu, right? You're the Dragon of Dojima. And then... He's like, yeah, I'm here to gauge how powerful you are, and I'm gonna test you in combat, and yada yada yada. And then there's that fucking weird last line that shows up before the fight happens. I'm sure other people noticed it as well. When he says something in Japanese, but clearly the translation is wrong. Or like, questionable or funny even. Where he says, only children believe in dragons, like... The sentence he says is way shorter, so it's obviously, like, not even close, so... I don't know what happened there, but yeah. Just a little, like, tidbit that I remembered from this fight. And then we have Aizawa fighting Aizawa as Saejima. And if not for the dynamic intro, I probably would have put this in D. But this is gonna go to C. Again, the only thing that's dragging this down is, like, the context behind it. Saejima arrives, stops this guy from killing someone in the, you know, the underground Coliseum. And then Aizawa tells Saejima that, you know, he's looking for his Kyodai, which is Morinaga, and he's almost giving up or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But, like, Saejima's like, hey, get your ass up here in the ring. I'm gonna beat your ass to prove a point, to show you how important not giving up on your Kyodai is. Like, what? But yeah, that aside, you get the generic extermination theme, which is okay. I mean, it's a good track. And then you get the amazing dynamic intro of them headbutting. I love it. But again, just the story drags so much down with it in this game. And then we have, oh boy, the infamous rooftop fights. Now, Watase is a cool character, right? I actually like Watase. But I feel like they could have done so much more with him. Like, you finally get to fight him. You get this big dialogue on how, you know, all of us big shot Yakuza are here, so let's fucking duke it out for a stupid plan. But you expect some kind of, I don't know, like dynamic intro maybe, like a quick time event with Watase, something like that, something of that nature. But you don't even get any of that with Watase. Or Katsuya. Like, why? Like, you have this big gathering of Yakuza, and you only give us like one quick time event with Saejima and Kiryu. I mean, it just feels like, I don't know, they wanted for you to have like a series of fights, but they didn't really do much to make them good, if that makes sense. Like, I guess there's a dynamic intro in between these, with them like carrying the loser and the others coming in to fight, but it's really nothing that impressive. Plus, that's only what I'm talking, that's only like, you know, the things I spoke of. when we talk about the context behind the fights in the story, these are even worse than, you know, the points that I mentioned. Like, you're gonna fight each other to death, like you claimed, and then have the mastermind show up on the rooftop of a building that has 2 rooftops. So you know full well that he could show up on the other rooftop and just shoot everyone. It's so dumb, dude. Like, it's painful. But these 2 fights, Saejima and Kiryu, I'm gonna take to at least B, because they're pretty good. Like, when it comes to the fight itself, and the track, and the quick time event. But other than that, like I said, it's just why, like, I'm speechless. And then we have Kanai before the final fight, where you can fight him as Kiryu or Akiyama. I mean, it's whatever. You beat him and then he fucking runs away and shoves his goons at you. That was kind of funny. And then we have the final showdown with Majima. Now, I think I'm gonna take this at least to B tier, just because of how beautiful the dynamic intro is, how beautiful the soundtrack is, the setting of the fight, the fact that they reuse every quick time event that Majima had in the past, and add a new one at the end. Like, it's a damn good fight, story aside. But again, as with a lot of the story fights in Yakuza 5, like, the story just drags this down. Like, you're telling me Kurosawa managed to fucking capture or blackmail Majima of all people? Like, bruh, come on. It's like in Yakuza 4, actually, right? Where some faceless Katsuragi goons managed to capture Saejima? Like, you're building up Saejima to be an equal to Kiryu, and then you're telling me he got captured by some faceless fucking Yakuza guys? Come on. And then we have the final fight with Baba. I think I'm gonna put this at least in C, because the setting of the fight is nice. No dynamic intro, but the song is nice. The quick time events are pretty okay. And again, story drags this down, as with pretty much most of the fights. And yeah, I don't know what more to say, because, like, I get what Shinada's trying to say to him. He's like, you know, he sees Baba leaving. Baba is supposed to assassinate Haruka, as you know. But Baba decides not to do that, and he's walking away. But Shinada catches him, and Shinada tells him that, you know, you should pick up your fucking camera and not leave any evidence behind. And then he's like, I hate people who can't do their job right, or something. It's so dumb. Like, even Baba's confused as hell in this fight. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? And it's just funny to see. But yeah, other than that, good fight. I actually really like this. And then Kanai's final fight. Now, this might be a controversial one, but I actually really like this one. I'm even almost considering putting this in A, because just the concept behind this, right? It's a simple, straightforward objective, I feel like. These guys are trying to break into your hometown, and they're trying to take you down because you're involved with the people that are protecting this town. And now Kiryu has to go, and it's just you all alone as Akiyama, trying to beat, like, God knows how many Yakuza guys. So, like, you don't get a dynamic intro, but the intro that does happen feels pretty damn nice to see. But the soundtrack for this is really damn cool. The quick time events that are in this fight are also really nice. There's multiple of them, and it makes this fight feel so intense, so I really love that. Okay, and then we have Aizawa, the final boss of Yakuza 5. Now, in terms of cinematics, like, you know, quick time events, dynamic intro, transitions from one place to another, this is one of the best fights in the series, right? You transition from the Tojo meeting room to the main hall, and then outside in the courtyard of the Tojo. And the quick time events that happen in this fight, there's at least like, what, 4 maybe? If not even more. And it's a pretty, it's like a pretty packed fight, right? So I guess for this reason alone, this also deserves to be at least on B. Even though I actually think I prefer Kanai's fight over this Aizawa fight. But I want to give this respect where it's due. The final fight for Aizawa is pretty good in a lot of ways. But story, again, is not one of them. Because it feels like they didn't know what they wanted to do with the story at this point. And even like Aizawa, when Kiryu asks him, like, what are you doing here? Aizawa's like, to be honest, I'm not sure myself. Which is, I thought that was funny a while ago. And there's also a big glaring contradiction when it comes to Aizawa's, like, motivation. He's basically shit-talking Kiryu because Kiryu has, like, a natural talent or charisma, which helped him a lot in going up the ranks. And he also doesn't like how Daigo had pretty much everything handed to him, because, you know, Daigo's dad, Dojima, was a pretty prominent figure in the Tojo clan, and that basically guaranteed a future for Daigo in the Tojo clan. He talks about all of this, right? But did he ever stop to think that the same thing is happening with him right now? Like, his dad, Kurosawa, is handing not only the Tojo, he's also handing the Omi clan to Aizawa. And it's like he doesn't see this at all. So, like, what point are you trying to make here, my guy? Like, other than the fact that he wants to beat Kiryu, he doesn't really have any other compelling argument, in my opinion. So yeah, combat-wise, pretty good. Story-wise, trash. And with that, we are done with Yakuza 5, and we're gonna move on to Yakuza 6. First off, we have Nagumo. Now, I felt like Nagumo was a pretty charming character. The way they introduced him was pretty simple and straightforward. He likes Kiyomi, and he feels like Kiryu is getting in the way. So, he's charming in the way that Rikia is, right? So, I think I'm actually gonna put him in B tier, because the dynamic intro is actually pretty good. The theme is pretty good. But he's not like a very, you know, climactic fight, if you will. So, B tier, pretty good for him. And then we have the fight with Akiyama and the fucking daycare. You have fucking, like, baby beds everywhere, and Kiryu's like, fuck you, I'm gonna take Haruto and get out of here. Again, pretty funny. And there's a nice quick time event as well. Oh yeah, dynamic intro as well. The dynamic intro is so good. I love it. He gets the generic boss theme, I believe, which is unfortunate, but I like this fight. Nagumo's second fight, I believe all he gets here is like a small action sequence where he slaps himself like twice and then does a sumo pose thing. It's okay, but it's not as good as, like... Actually, this is probably my least favorite Nagumo fight, because it's just... whatever. And then we have the fight with not just Nagumo, but the Jingai Thunders, I believe. Which has Yuta and Matsugana, I believe? Matsunaga. I mix up between Matsunaga and Matsugane from Judgment. But anyway, this one is definitely better than the second fight for me, because of, you know, the context behind it and the fact that you fight all three of them. It's more humorous. And then we have Masuzoe. Masuzoe is not exactly a compelling villain. Especially when you see him later on kinda being scared or worried that he's gonna die. Like, at first he's okay, but, you know, knowing what you know about him later, he just kinda looks weak as hell. But I guess I can put the first fight with him here. Because I like the context of this one as well. We go and save Nagumo, and then Nagumo just wants to follow us to the ends of the earth, calling us Aniki. Pretty wholesome. And I like the secluded place of this fight as well. And then Takashira and Yuta. I believe this is when Matsunaga tries to stop us from following him, I believe. I mean, it's nothing special. But I like the quick time event. It's pretty amusing. And then we fight Masazoe again, but it's whatever. And then we have Somiya's first fight. Somiya is probably like the most loved villain in Yakuza 6. So Somiya has a dynamic intro, and he doesn't have a quick time event, I believe, but he has an action sequence where Kiryu and him trade punches. So he has that. He has an amazing soundtrack, and you know, the rivalry between him and Kiryu is pretty damn compelling as well. Like, you see the it's actually reminiscent, not a whole lot, but just a bit, of a certain villain in Lost Judgment, right? There's a clash of ideas. Kiryu is like representing the old guard or the old school kind of Yakuza, where tattoos hold a lot of importance, and it's basically a way to define your way of life or something like that. On the other hand, Somiya believes that tattoos are nothing more than a hindrance, especially in this day and age where they do you no good, according to him. So it's really nice to see like this clash of modern Yakuza and classic or old school Yakuza. So this is a pretty good fight. I love it. And then we have Hanjungi. I mean, totally not biased, by the way. Where do I begin with Hanjungi? At the time when I first saw him, I definitely thought that he was one of the most uniquely designed villains in the series yet. And I'm just so happy to see that he delivered in the final game. The way they introduced him, like even before the fight, where he, you know, he grills that one guy's face because he turned you away from the club, that was so cool. Like, it reminds you of the old brutality that the Jingun Mafia had in Yakuza 2. It makes you feel like they still have this brutality touch, and that was such a great way to introduce it. But I definitely wish that they did show more brutality from the Jingun Mafia down the line. But I can kinda see how or why they didn't go around doing that. So he introduces himself as the owner of Stardust, and he's like, Kiryu, I'm your biggest fan, please come over at the club. You know, all these like formalities, if you will. But in reality, he just wants to fight Kiryu because like, I don't know if I should say he even has anything personal against Kiryu at this point, right? He just wants to prove that Kiryu is no longer a threat and, like, show the members of the Jingun Mafia that the grudges that they have are just not worth it. So, pretty interesting motive. And then when you actually get to Stardust and the way they introduce his, like, the ring, the build-up to the fight, everything about the first fight I just fucking love. There is a bit of a dynamic intro. There is no quick time event, sadly, but there's like a small action sequence when you get him to low health. So I wish that was something they did more with. But, like, when you fucking listen to that track, you just forget everything. I fucking love it. And yeah, so S tier. And then we have Ed. Now, wait a second, I could have sworn there was another fight here. I believe I forgot to include it in the list then, I apologize. It's just that the list is so big, there's like 309 entries in this tier list. And I thought I was thorough, but looks like there's one thing that we forgot now. The first encounter with Ed, like... Okay, so I didn't have that here. But if I had to put it somewhere, I would probably put it at least in B or A. Like, Ed is such... I don't know how to describe him, honestly, but... The way they introduced him at first, with him, like, slashing the throat of a Tojo guy... It kinda... What's the word? Forebode that he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with. And the first fight with him in the sewers with Akiyama was so good. Like, yeah, he didn't last too long, but the quick time events and the action sequence that was there were just so good, dude. Like, holy shit. So, I probably would have put him in either B or A. And there's also his soundtrack. His track is so good. I love it. But yeah, let's go with actually... Let's go with A. I think his first encounter is my favorite. So we would have put him in A. And then we have the second encounter with Ed, which is also good. There is a dynamic intro this time. And I believe there's no quick time event, just an action sequence. But it's a pretty good one. And then you have the boys joining you, like, you know, Akiyama, Nagamo, and Yuta. So, pretty good. But I think I prefer the first fight over this one. And then we have, oh boy, Hangman. Now, this guy... I'm honestly tempted to put this guy in S tier, but I think I'm not gonna get too carried away. So, Hangman. There is a lot to say about this guy, but let me start off by saying, what the fuck is this guy? I'm sure a lot of you asked this question as well when you first fought him. The place that you find him in is perfect, right? Like a derelict, abandoned, soapland. Like, what other place could you find a creature like this in? You know what I mean? You get a nice build-up for him. Like, you cross some kind of corridor, and then he shows up, and then he tries to grab you. And then when you go up further, he grabs Somiya, and then you have no choice but to jump down and help Somiya. Like, the introduction to this guy is incredible. The fact that he's so unexpected is just even better. Because when you play Yakuza, you expect, like, you know, Yakuza opponents or, you know, gang members or something like that. But then there's this guy, gimp suit, a fucking eyeball gag, and you can see his bare ass cheeks. So, I don't know what the fuck this is, but if this is some kind of, like, horror flick in my Yakuza game, I'll take it. Like, the fact that this boss made the whole Shangri-La section feel so unique is just so many pluses in my book. I love this. And I actually wish they do more of this kind of thing. Not more guys in gimp suits, but more, you know, horror stuff. More unexpected, creepy stuff, if you will. So yeah, Hangman, pretty good. I like the boss. And then we have Somiya's second fight, which I actually didn't like as much. I don't know how to describe it, but like... It just didn't feel as compelling as the first one. And the fact that Kiryu, like, takes off his shirt in this fight as well, it just felt over the top in an unnecessary way. And then we have Koshimizu. Koshimizu is another, like, main villain in this game. And, like, his fight is okay. You get a dynamic intro and a quick time event, but, you know, it's nothing too special. So it's whatever. Han Jungi's second fight. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Okay, so there's quite a bit to talk about this entry as well. I really appreciate the fact that Han Jungi steps in and actually orders his guards or men to actually stand down and just leave this fight all for him. It tells you a lot about how he respects the fight between him and Kurohyou, you know what I mean? He wants this to be something that is only between him and Kurohyou. He doesn't want anyone else to interfere, because that's how a fair fight is, right? So I can appreciate that, and the dynamic intro here is simple, but I also appreciate it. It actually reminds me a lot of a certain fight in Ishin, but we're gonna get to that later. And did I say that I like the quick time event? The quick time event is so sick and smooth. And theory of beauty, what can I say more? Yeah, love this fight. And then we have his final fight. And I like his final fight, but something about it feels not as good as these two. Like, there's a semi-dynamic intro, which is nice, and then there's a new quick time event, which is also nice, but it just didn't feel like a satisfactory conclusion for this character, if that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you know, he dies like 5 seconds after you fight him, but I'm talking about the fight itself. Something about it just, I don't know, it feels like something is missing. I don't know what it is. But, yeah. Then we have the final fight against Ed, I believe, in the burning Little Asia. It's okay, but it's definitely not as good as the second or the first fight against him. And then we have the fight against Yuta. Now, I know a lot of people hate Yuta for different reasons. Maybe because, you know, the whole ordeal with Haruka, or maybe because they think he's just dumb, or he's not a good character or a badass character or whatever. But I can appreciate the development that Yuta had. You know what I mean? He's not like a badass, hardened kind of guy from the get-go. He makes stupid decisions. He makes questionable decisions. But I feel like the point was that you try to get him to see what's wrong with the stuff that he does, if that makes sense. And eventually, you know, he does wisen up. So, good fight, good track. But something about it is underwhelming. I don't know what it is. The final fight with Nagamo. It's okay. Like, it's not... I don't know what to say about it. It's okay, it's just... I don't know, the first fight was so much better. This one was like... You're telling me our boss, Hirose, is actually a bad man? I don't believe you. Let me fight you. I mean, it's whatever. And then we have Hirose. Hirose is just unique as a boss. A lot of people say that he's like a slasher villain, more than an actual boss when it comes to, you know, how it feels to fight him. And I agree. I really like the way this guy approaches you in combat. Like, he has a, you know, unique battle theme. The quick time events even show you, like, the difference between him and other opponents. This guy tries to sneak up on you and just stab you. And he has, like, terrifying quick time events. I love the last one, where I believe it can happen, like, out of nowhere. He just fucking tries to stab your jaw. And it's so amazing. But I kinda wish they did more with Hirose in terms of story. Like, the way he went out was sad, but I felt like they could have done more to get us to like the character. Oof, the final fight with Somiya. Man. Why did it have to go like that? Like, I love this fight so much. It has a dynamic intro, it has an amazing theme, it has an amazing quick time event. The context behind it is fucking tragic. But I kinda also wish they did a bit more with it. Not that, you know, it's not good, it's amazing. But yeah, you know, dismiss that, just forget I said anything. This fight is so good and just downright tragic. Definitely S tier. And then we have Koshimizu again. Now, the first one I put in C, but I feel like this one deserves a B at least, because it's a more of a showdown fight, and it's pretty good. The dynamic intro is really sweet in this. And I believe there is... It's not a quick time event, but it's an action sequence that finishes the fight, where Kiryu like headbutts Koshimizu, and then Nagumo gets to punch the fucking living shit out of him. I thought that was really satisfying. So yeah, B tier. Now, Iwami. Oh boy. This guy. I know that this guy is pretty controversial with a lot of people, for a lot of reasons. And I can see why, and I understand why. Now, I believe I spoke about him before in the final boss tier list video. He has nothing redeeming about him, right? But the fact that they did such a good job at making you hate this guy and making you want to beat the ever-living fucking shit out of him, because he did pretty much what no other final boss did, which is take Haruka as a direct hostage, not only her, but her baby, at gunpoint. So the threat was very real. And then proceeded to, like, beat the shit out of Kiryu as well. It was so heartbreaking. You know what I mean? But in a way that made it so satisfying to finally catch his ass and beat him. Now, I definitely wish they did more with this guy in the story to make him more present. Maybe even... I don't know how to say this. But like, you get what I mean, right? The fact that he's an irredeemable piece of shit that you want to beat the shit out of just made him a good boss for me. I just wish that he had more going on in the fight in terms of quick time events. Like, the dynamic intro was cool, the soundtrack is amazing, but the fact that he has just one quick time event in the middle of a fight and nothing at the end at least, like, put something at the end, you know? He has none of that. So the fight could have been a lot better, but, you know, what can you do? So I'm just torn between putting this in B or A, B or A. I think I'm actually gonna put this in B. And I think I'm actually gonna take this hunt fight down to B as well, but... yeah. Like, whatever. The fight could have been better. But, again, getting to beat the ever-living shit out of Iwami felt so good. And, yeah. Okay, that actually concludes Yakuza 6. So now we move on to Yakuza Like a Dragon. Or Yakuza 7, whatever you want to call it. First boss we have is, Sawashiro. Joe Sawashiro. For being the first boss, I actually like this fight. No dynamic intro, but there was... What? It wasn't a quick time event, was it? It was just an action sequence. Pretty cool action sequence. And this fight pretty much set in stone everything that was gonna happen in the story. So, pretty good fight. Not the best thing in the world, but, you know, it's okay. And then we have this guy. What's his name? Takabe? Something like that? I feel like they could have done much more with him. Because I feel like, if I remember right, in the trailers they showed him, and it felt like it was going to be a big deal, but he wasn't, so, like, whatever. Oof, and then we have Han Jungi once again. This is at least A tier for me. Like, just the build-up to it, the fact that you know you're probably gonna fight this guy eventually, and then seeing it happen, and the fact that he was actually, like... I don't want to say difficulty spike, because that might come off as negative, but he was, like, the first difficult boss fight that I had to do in the game. And for me, that was in a good way, if that makes sense. The first time ever playing this game, I did not recruit Eri, so I only had 3 party members, Ichiban, Saigo, and Adachi. So having just 3 put such a big handicap on me, but when I played the English release and got Eri, the fight became much more manageable. But still, the challenge in this fight, the track theory of beauty, just so good. But I really wish they brought the remix. The remix that they played in one of the dungeons, we never got to see that again, which is a big shame. But yeah, I'm actually thinking of putting this in the... Yeah, I kind of wish it had more. And then we have Mabuchi. Oh boy, this guy. I believe he has a dynamic intro of some sorts, and like one of the best tracks in Yakuza Like a Dragon. Unexpectedly, he's trying to overthrow the Lumang and take the gang for himself. The track is good, and I really just don't know what to say, honestly. And then we have Ishioda, aka Heavy Machinery, or the first, like, crane fight. Wait, not a crane, a bulldozer, I think. I mean, it was okay. Like, it wasn't anything special. Like, yeah, fighting a big-ass bulldozer was like, oh, holy shit, are we really gonna fight this thing? It was okay. I think it was also a bit annoying, because he had that one attack that lifts the bulldozer, and then you had to get ready, and when it falls down, if you don't get the timing right to block, it's gonna attack everyone, which was kinda annoying, but yeah. And then we have Namba. We fight Namba, I believe, as well as Ishioda right next to him. I mean, the fight was okay, nothing too special. We were just trying to convince Namba to listen, and it's okay. And then Mabuchi again. I think I'm gonna put this in the same tier. Even though this was better than the first fight, I believe, because it had a more grand setting, if you will. And then we fight Ishioda again, but this time with Namba finally joining the gang back. So this was a really wholesome cutscene before fighting this guy. And then when you actually use one ability that the game tells you Namba learned while he was away, I think you can take out everyone except Ishioda, which is pretty damn sick. I love it. But yeah, and then we have this fucking crazy guy. I forgot his name. Not really a boss, but I felt like he was unique enough to be in this list. They could have done something more with him as well. Like, they built him, or they showed him, introduced him as someone that might have been a lunatic, but once you beat him, he just fucking shits his pants, so wasted potential. Oof, and then we have the big boys, Saejima and Majima. This is definitely S tier. Like, holy shit. It takes you like, what, 20 minutes to beat these guys? What a fight. Like, you get a sick-ass dynamic intro with Majima, and then Saejima joins in with a dynamic intro as well. And then you get a sick tag move with the two of them beating the shit out of everyone. Just so good. It's so wholesome to see Majima happy once again as well, you know? Like, in Yakuza 3, 4, 5, he had a lot of reasons to be depressed, especially 4 and 5. But now that all of that is gone away, you know, he's, you know, with Saejima, what more could he ask for? You know what I mean? So, yeah. And then I believe the second Sawashiro fight. Really good fight. I love this fight. You have a dynamic intro with the fucking couches. Pretty neat stuff. And the soundtrack for Sawashiro here is different. I love it. And I think he's able to perform like heat actions on you in the middle of the fight. And he has multiple phases as well, like with the cane, and then the broken cane with the broken like sword or something. pretty badass guy. I love Sawashiro. And this fight is just amazing. And then we have Kiryu, Kazuma, and of course this is gonna go to S. Like, what can I, what do I need, I can't find the words. What do I need to say about this? Like, you fight Kiryu as the new protagonist, and Kiryu's trying to calm the new protagonist to the fuck down because he was about to kill someone, and you get a sick-ass dynamic intro, sick-ass remix of Receive You, and multiple styles that Kiryu uses in the middle of the fight, and like so much in this fight. And like the cutscene that comes after beating him as well, with the illusionary victory thing, just priceless, dude. I love it. Then we move on to the final Ishioda fight, which I'm actually considering putting here, but not sure. Because I think this is my favorite fight with Ishioda. Like the dynamic intro, same soundtrack, but a sick soundtrack. And we also fight Mirrorface alongside him. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I should put this here or... I think I'm gonna keep this in A, because it feels like the most conclusive fight with Ishioda, if you will. So, I feel like it deserves to be here. I love the fight. And then, oh boy, we have Tendo. I think this guy is definitely gonna go to S tier as well. This guy is a scumbag that managed to fool you at one point of the game into thinking like, yeah, let's do this together, teamwork, you know, I'm with you guys. But then all he does is fucking betray you, and even enjoys talking shit about, you know, the person that he kills, which makes you even more angry at him, and it works. It's just effective. And then when you finally get to him, oh boy, the setting, dude, the fucking place you fight him in, the thunder, the dynamic intro, the soundtrack, the action sequence in the middle of the fight, and like the punch trading at, you know, after you beat the fight. It's so good, dude. I fucking love it. And then we have Ryu Aoki. And I think I'm gonna put this in actually either C. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put this in C, because not gonna lie, if they ended the game on this fight, that probably would have been one of the lamest endings in the series for me. But the fact that they went and continued, and now you fight not Ryu Aoki, but Masato Arakawa, that was just amazing. And I'm actually considering putting him on S, but I'm not sure. Because I wish there was a more explosive dynamic intro for one. And I wish there was more going on in the fight in terms of quick time events. But those are like my only complaints about this. The fact that the name switches is such a nice attention to detail. And the soundtrack is so good, the setting for it when you go upstairs is just amazing as well. And yeah, I think the only complaints is, you know, the lack of a good dynamic intro and the lack of more quick time events. But other than that, great boss. I loved it. And with that, we are finished with Yakuza Like a Dragon. And with this, we're actually finished with the mainline series. So we move on to the spin-offs. And this is probably where a lot of entries are going to go to the last category of can't remember or not enough knowledge. So we're going to start with Kurohyou, Black Panther, the first game on the PSP. For those who don't know, this is, again, a spin-off for Yakuza. And you play as a character called Ukyo Tatsuya, who is a teenager that ends up getting wrapped into a lot of, like, shit. And that includes being involved with Yakuza stuff. And basically, he ends up having to fight in an underground arena to earn his freedom. I think because he was falsely accused or something of killing someone, so he has to free his name by fighting in the Coliseum or something like that. when it comes to the plot of Kurohyou 1 and 2, I actually don't know a lot about it. There are some bits that I do know, but not everything. So, for example, the first boss. What's his name? Tomoki, I think? I don't know enough to be able to put him on the list, to be honest. And then we have... what's his name? I forgot his name. Hyuga. Right, Hyuga. Again, don't know enough about him. But then we have... I think his name was Yuki something. Now, I'm going to actually list this guy up high just because of his fucking theme. It's so good. If you want to listen to it, look up fucking hell, can't speak. Kurohyou, So Unusual. It's called So Unusual. And it's just so good. What the hell? And from what I know about him, this guy was a previous teacher of the main character you play. And back in the day, Tatsuya would pick on this teacher with his friends and, you know, basically make his life shit. And now this teacher is back for revenge, basically. At least that's what I know. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. So yeah, pretty good context, pretty good stuff. I'm actually even thinking of putting this in A. Just, his theme is so good, dude. I fucking love it. But yeah. This guy, yeah, I don't know. Hayato. Now, I don't know enough about this guy as well, but I just fucking love his soundtrack, and I love what I see of him, what I saw of him. Like, he's a deranged kind of fighter, and a bit of a fun fact, I think you can actually find him in the second game, in the sub-story, and fight him. And I think that's pretty cool. I love when games do that. So even though he's like deranged and mental, he's not completely out of it, I think, but I'm not sure about that part. But yeah, I really love this fight. And if I remember right, just a small tidbit as well. In this fight, the game gives you a warning because apparently your feet are injured or something like that, and he tries to go for your feet during the fight. And as you may or may not know, this game has limb damage, so that basically means that you can parry him easily because he's usually going to go for lower attacks. But yeah. Hyuga, once again, yeah, don't know enough. This guy, I don't know. This guy, I also don't know enough about, but I like the concept about him. He's like the ultimate soldier or something like that, they talk about him. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about this guy either. And then we have Taizen Mamiya, I think his name? Amamiya? Taizen? I think Taizen is correct, at least. Taizen. This guy is just amazing. Like, first of all, amazing soundtrack. Second of all, I believe he's Tatsuya's dad, the protagonist's dad. And he used to be like one of the best fighters in this Coliseum until he took an injury. So, I believe this fight is something of a proving yourself to your dad or something like that. So the context behind it is pretty damn cool. I like it. And he uses a fighting style, I believe, called Extreme Man. So that kind of tells you how experienced and how difficult his dad is. And I believe this boss is actually more difficult than the final boss because he parries so much and you have to be careful about that. And yeah, I don't know what more to say about him. I don't know enough about the story, unfortunately, but yeah. And then we have the final boss. I forgot this guy's name. But this is the only fight in the entire game where you fight on outside of the arena. And this happens to take place on top of the Millennium Tower, so pretty fitting, knowing the series. And the soundtrack is an instrumental version of Muppet. And that song is just so fucking good. It's a banger. I love it. And yeah, unfortunately, I don't know much about this guy in terms of story. But in terms of what you're getting in the fight, in the gameplay, it's just so good. Okay, that is Kurohyou 1. And now we move on to Kurohyou 2. Now, first boss is actually a returning boss. This guy, Tomoki. And Unfortunately, I don't know enough, so gonna put him there. And then we have this guy. I don't know enough as well. I don't know this guy. Same for this guy. And then we landed this guy. So this is another one of those bosses that I don't know too much about, except that I think he's so there's a group in Kurohyou 2, I believe they're called the Ashura or something like that. They're a group of, I don't even know. But I think this guy is some kind of assassin. I could be wrong. Again, correct me in the comments if you know. And he is, he's just unique, let me tell you. He wears like a BDSM getup, leather and all, and let's just say the game took extra steps to ensure that his bulge is as visible as it can get, especially considering the PSP limitations, so that's actually kind of impressive. He has an amazing track, surprisingly, I love it. And the stuff that he does in the fight are also unique, to say the least. He has a heat action that he can do on you, I believe, and it's something. I like it. But yeah, I don't know enough about this guy or this guy. Now, this one is a very interesting one, because this is something that I wish more games did, and certainly I wish more Yakuza games did this. So, this guy might look like a generic goon to you, right here, right? But here's the thing. So, this is at a part of the game where I forget why, but you can't play as Tatsuya. I think his arm is broken, or his leg is broken, or something like that. So you play as a friend of Tatsuya. And during this part, Tatsuya, the main protagonist, has a sister, and she gets kidnapped. So you, Tatsuya's friend, you try to go and rescue her, right? So when you go and find this guy, you have to fight him, right? Now, the fight, for one reason or another, is timed. I think it's because he has a bomb or something like that, so that's interesting. But let's put that aside. Once you beat him, you don't actually win. What happens is that, I forget if he shoots the guy you're playing as, or if he... Yeah, I can't remember what exactly happens. But the guy you play as gets badly injured, but I think he manages to save Tatsuya's sister somehow. And it's such an effective, what's the word? It's an effective device to use, you know what I mean? Like having someone different that you play as, only for them to die, but before they die, they do something of value that helps the main protagonist. I feel like it's such a good thing that a lot of games could benefit from doing. Of course, if it aligns with the story well. I felt like it aligned with the story of Kurohyou very well, because... let me actually rank this. Where do I rank it? I think I'm gonna rank it in A just because of the concept that this fight uses. So, what happens after that is that, of course, Tatsuya sees that his friend died, and you regain control of Tatsuya, and then back to the underground arena, you end up fighting the same dude again, you know, to take payback. So, because of this, I think I'm actually gonna put these two together side by side, just because I felt this was actually so well done, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. And then there's this guy. He looks like Ryuji, kind of. I don't know anything about him, unfortunately. Except that I think he redeems himself, but then dies, so that's unfortunate. And then there's this guy. He's a lot like Kugihara, isn't he? Like, just look at this face. But... he fights you with a katana. And then when you fight him enough, he ends up, like, having his katana tossed aside. But I like the track. It's like a, I don't know how to describe it. It's a unique soundtrack that he has. And there's like helicopter sounds. You're on top of the Millennium Tower, so pretty interesting fight. Maybe I'm gonna take it to see. Because again, I don't know enough about it, but from what I saw, it's pretty nice. And then you have the final boss of Kurohyou too. Like, dude, I barely know anything about this, and this is gonna go to S. Just because of how fucking good the soundtrack is. Like, holy shit. Like, I'm pretty sure this can't be as bad as Yakuza 5's final boss, right? In terms of story, I hope. But yeah, the track that he has, Born to be Wild, you have to listen to it. It's so good. Look it up on YouTube right now and listen to it. It's like, it's just amazing. That's all I can say. You fight him on top of the Millennium Tower as well, and I believe he's another one of those villains that ends up redeeming himself. But yeah, I don't know much more beyond that. But it's such a good fight, dude. So fucking hype. I love it. And with this, we are done with the Kurohyou games. And now we can move on to Judgment. Oh boy, Judgment. As you guys know, Judgment is like... It did such an amazing job at earning my love. So there's a lot of these bosses that are probably going to be high tier. So first of all, we have the horse racing detective. This guy probably... You know what? This guy's going to go to D. Not just because of like the fight itself, but because of what you end up seeing of him. He becomes an endearing character eventually, you know what I mean? Like, the fight itself is pretty nice. There's a nice dynamic intro. There's no quick time event. The soundtrack is generic. But this guy is like a character that you can't help but, I don't know, like, end up liking, if that makes sense. And then we have Akira Murase, I believe. And we fight him back to back, but I'm actually not sure which fight I prefer. I really like the dynamic intro for this, so I think I'm actually gonna put him here. And the soundtrack is also pretty decent. What else? I think he has a little action sequence where he grabs a wooden katana, but that's it. So it's okay, but not anything too special. Same thing for this. Actually, this one might be slightly better because of Kaito. When he fucking comes in and crashes the scene and he's like, yo, let's do this. But yeah, good fights. Nothing too special, just good. This one has a dynamic intro as well. Oof, and then there's this one. The Matsugane family. I forgot this guy's name though. But I really fucking love what happens before the fight and how it leads up to the fight. And the dynamic intro between Yagami and this guy. Like, such intense exchange of, like, hatred. I love it. And then there's this guy. After you beat that other guy, he steps in the same fight. Like, he's okay. But I don't know what to say, like... The dynamic intro with this guy was much better, so... Yeah. Ooh, Higashi. Oh, man. Now, you guys probably know, but I have a personal bias for Higashi. I love this guy so much. But I'm not gonna go too crazy. I'm just gonna put him at A. The first fight, the soundtrack is so fucking good. The quick time event you get is kinda recycled. Baba's, when you fight Baba as Saejima in his part, the final fight, you get that, but a slightly altered version to suit Yagami. So pretty cool stuff overall. And can I just talk about Higashi's fighting style? It's so good, dude. Like the Muay Thai and the purple aura, it's just amazing. It's actually amazing how much effort they put into his fighting style. I love it so much. And then you get Shioya, the first fight. I actually really love this fight as well. The way Sugiura comes in and helps you guys, and then you have like one hell of a beatdown with each other. It's just so good. And like Shioya as well ends up becoming a lovable character, if you will. So yeah. Okay, Shioya for the second time. Now I think this is gonna go to A tier as well. Because I want to put him in S tier, but I really wish they did more with Shioya. You don't get a dynamic intro. You get a sick-ass quick time event, though. And there's a small action sequence here where he brings more goons. But, yeah, it was one hell of a brawl. Like, you had so many people. You were with Kaito and Sugiura, and it was just so, exciting, you know? Fucking loved it. But yeah, and now we have Higashi's second fight. Holy crap, dude. This one is actually gonna go to S tier for me. Because that dynamic intro, and then you get that quick time event recycled again, but fitting. Recycled from Kanai from Yakuza 5, the final fight. He also has a knife. You disarm, you disarm him. Same thing you do here. But the setting in this fight is so much better. And just everything is so much better in this fight. And I just can't help but feel bad for Higashi, because I can understand Matsugane. Matsunaga is the one from Yakuza 6. Matsugane wanting to stop Yagami from pursuing, you know, all of what's going on any further, because it's dangerous. He's probably gonna get himself killed. And then he just throws it onto poor Higashi, like, hey, Higashi, stop them if you're loyal to me. So I can't help but feel bad for the guy, but they gave us an amazing fight. I love it. And then we have the fight with Hamura. I believe this is the first time you fight him. It's good. Yeah, it's good. I like the quick time events that show up here, but definitely could have been better. And then we have Kane, man. Oh, man. I think I actually have a bias with him as well. Like, holy shit. The dynamic intro. Wait, was there a quick time event or was it an action sequence? I can't remember, but he does have something in this fight. The concept of this guy, the design for him, the cane, do I need to say more? The fucking cane is so good. And I also appreciate the fact that they pulled a Joji Kazuma and had a twin for him that you can befriend in the sub-story. So that was nice. It was basically befriending Cane Man, but not really. So yeah, I loved Cane Man so much. And then we have this security guard though. Whatever. And then Cane Man once again. Now I was thinking of including every different iteration in that long fight. You know, the knife iteration, the staff one, the gun one, but I decided to include all of them. And I think that's actually going to be S tier as well. Just because, like, holy shit. They were very innovative with this guy in that long fight. I loved it. Like, I don't know how such a non-story related character can show up, be this good, and disappear. You know that one meme? Fucking comes into the scene, refuses to elaborate, impresses everyone, leaves. This is Cane Man. But, yeah. And then we have Hamura once again, and this fight is definitely better than the first one. More satisfying, and the setting of it as well is better. The fucking chair quick time event is priceless, I love it. Could have used the quick time event, I mean, dynamic intro, but whatever. Then we have this guy once again, I forgot his name. I guess it's B tier, because he has a dynamic intro, no quick time event, I believe. And, it was okay, it was nothing too special. And then we have Hangman once again. Oh, man. You should have seen the surprise on my face when I saw that this guy came back in Judgment of all places. But I appreciated, like, this new... I don't know what to call it. But, like, him being a recurring boss in the series, I'm okay with that, because this is definitely a unique creature. And the place that he's in Judgment as well is very fitting, much like Shangri-La. It's a desolate love hotel, an abandoned building. And they nail, like, the horror-ish vibe with him here as well. When he kidnaps Sugiura, and then you find him, like, behind, like, bars. It's just so good, dude. I fucking love it. I almost want to put him in S tier, but I wish he had more going for him in Judgment. Like, I don't know, quick time events, maybe more fights. But yeah. I just remembered this guy's name, Kengo. The final fight with him with Higashi, I mean, it's okay. You get to fight with Higashi, that's cool. You basically try to stop him from going headfirst into stumbling upon the mole, basically, and it's okay. And then we have Kurohyou. Oh boy. I think this is definitely gonna be S tier. We had a sick-ass dynamic intro, sick track, sick quick time event, and the boss has just an amazing moveset. There's one move in particular that I like from him, which is when you approach him while he's on the ground, he gets up out of nowhere and just attacks you. It's so freaky. I love it. And then, of course, we have the final fight, final boss of Judgment, also Kurohyou. Also S tier, as you might have guessed. What is there to say about this? Like, beautiful dynamic intro, same track, but it's an amazing track. There's no quick time event, but there's a long-ass action sequence that is so hype. I love it. And there is a second phase, like one of the only times in the series where there's a second phase. Like when I say second phase, I mean you beat the boss completely, and then he comes back with a little like cutscene. Actually, now that I say this, was there any other instance in this series where this happened? Because I can't think of anything. Yeah, let me know in the comments, because it's slipping my mind. Okay, so with Judgment finished, now we can move on to Lost Paradise, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. And I know some people might be, you know, saying, this is not Yakuza. But this game has always been and will always be a Yakuza game to me. For the sole fact that, first of all, in Japanese, this game is called Hokuto ga Gotoku. And in Japanese, Yakuza is Ryu Ga Gotoku. So a collaboration in the name. You can see it like clear as day. Made by the same developers as Yakuza. Reuses a lot of the voice actors from Yakuza. Like, for example, Shin here. The voice actor for him in Japanese is Nishiki's voice actor. Targa has Han Joon-gi's voice actor. I believe he has Shimano's voice actor. Rei has Shinada's voice actor, I believe. This guy, I think he has Sudo's voice actor. This is Morinaga from Yakuza 5. Jagi has Majima's voice actor. Rao is Ryuji. And yeah, a lot of, you know, returning voice actors. And of course, Kenshiro is voice acted by Kiryu's voice actor, Kuroda. So that's, if that's not enough to tell you that this should be considered a Yakuza spin-off, I don't know what else is going to convince you. But yeah. Oh, and can we also talk about the fucking blatant Kiryu skin for Kenshiro? Like, what more do you need? But anyway, so Shin. Now, I'm someone that hasn't really followed the manga for Fist of the North Star, nor have I watched any of the animes. So I'm kind of mostly going about what I know from the game only, as, you know, a source material. So Shin is a rival for Kenshiro. He tries to steal Kenshiro's beloved, Yuria, and tries to make her his. So, and from what I know as well, I heard that Shin and Kenshiro used to be great friends, but Jagi was actually the one that broke between them. He put ideas in Shin's head and he broke everything that they had. But that's not in this game. It's just something that I heard. So, pretty interesting boss. I'm gonna put him in B. And then we have Devil Rebirth. Devil Rebirth is interesting, but like, he has no relevance in the story from what I know, at least in the game. You just go to this Coliseum or arena, and you have to fight him. The fight is cool, I suppose, but that's really all there is to him. Targa, I mean, they introduce him as the cyborg guy, and yeah, he has a quick time event, I believe, the first time you fight him. I mean, I don't know, to be honest. It's whatever. And then this guy, the prison guard. Again, like, not really memorable, but he has an amazing... I believe he has a dynamic intro, doesn't he? Where he takes off, like, his cape. And he has a quick time event as well, if I remember right. Like, he's okay, but he didn't stand out to me. And then there's Ray. He also has a dynamic intro. And he has a quick time event, I believe. So, pretty okay stuff. I think I'll put him in B. And then we have Mysterious Man, which is actually just Nadai. I don't think he has anything special in the first time you fight him, so I'm just gonna put him in C. And then we have Thouser, or Souther, whichever one you prefer. I'm honestly tempted to put this in S, because the fight was so good. There's a dynamic intro that is very amazing. So, you get a sick dynamic intro, you get an amazing soundtrack, you get amazing transitions from one place to another, like, just an amazing fight all around. And then you get Jaggy. You get two fights, so I separated between them. You get a first-person fight, which is very interesting, and I liked that idea, actually. I thought it was well done. I think I'm actually going to put this in A, and same for the second fight. Now, Jaggy has no dynamic intros, I believe, but he has a lot of quick time events, which is always a plus. So, the quick time events that he has really tell you a lot about how his strength compares, or does not compare, to Kenshiro, rather. Like, Kenshiro just obliterates this guy in every way. But this guy has an amazing theme, and I really love the setting for this fight, actually. Like, the arena, but everything around you guys is dark. That is really amazing. I love it. And then there's the fight with Rao. Rao's fight is also really nice. I love it. Nice dynamic intro that syncs with the music. And I believe he has at least one quick time event. And once you finish, you don't really beat him. You two come at a standstill. And I also appreciate that Rao is, to an extent, like an understanding or... I don't know if I should say wise, but the fact that, you know, after you fight him, he's about to continue fighting you, but then he stops to think about why Master Ryuga chose Kenshiro as the successor. Like, I don't know, I feel like there's some kind of respect between the two of them. Is like the best way I can put it. But yeah, I like that. And then we have, what's his name? Keno, I believe? Which is just fake Targa. I mean fake, yeah, it's just Targa. Like, it's cool, I guess, but I have a personal hatred against this fight, because I remember trying to upload this with cutscene, and I got denied like 3 times, or 2 times, just because YouTube didn't want me to upload the cutscene before this fight for some reason. But yeah, interesting fight. Interesting to see Targa imitating Nadai's fighting style. And then we actually have the final fight with Nadai. And I actually really like this fight. So, I feel like Nadai is some kind of a foil to Kenshiro. I unfortunately don't remember every single detail about this game, but I do remember that both Kenshiro, both Nadai, care about helping people. But Nadai is just a bit more extreme, and he doesn't mind, like, sacrificing people if it means the good of more people. But Kenshiro obviously is not like that, so I feel like they have a good contrast going between the two of them. And, like, you can't really say Nadai is a bad guy per se. It's just that he has extreme methods, you know? Sick dynamic intro. I believe he has an action sequence where he, like, injects himself like this or something. And then there's a quick time event. Although I wish the quick time event was a bit more explosive so that the fight feels more satisfying to finish. But still good fight. And then we have the final fight with Targa. Now, this guy... I think his entire deal in this game is that he literally just trolled everyone into thinking that he's just some pleb. But really, he somehow just outplayed everyone and now he's the final boss who claims to be a god, or wants to be a god. And yeah, like the dynamic intro is so cool. I like the dynamic intro. I like the track. The quick time events in this fight are pretty cool. I like them. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this guy. It led to a satisfactory ending of the game, and yeah, good fight. And with this, we are done with Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise, and we can move on to Lost Judgment, the latest game in the series. Now, first up, we have Kosuke. Kosuke! Oh man, Kosuke. Do I really need to spell this out? Like, seriously, come on. And then we have Rowdy Students. Now, this fight was okay-ish. There weren't anyone special, but the dynamic intro was pretty sick, so I'll take it to C at least. Same for this one. Basically same concept. You fight school, like a rough crowd in school. And I want to take this moment to talk about this again, but if you think it's wrong that Yagami beats high schoolers up, you have no idea how mental, how crazy, how fucking unreasonable high school boys can be. Coming from someone who's been in a boys' school throughout his entire life, okay? You... Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know where you live. I don't know what kind of school life you had. But if some high school students are gonna be crazy, like, try to attack you, pull a knife on you, maybe you just witness them bullying someone, it's the right thing to do when you stop them. And if a fight follows, well, so be it. Put them in their place. That's all there is to it. Yagami did nothing wrong. And I stand by that. But yeah, then we have Koana, the first fight. Now we have no dynamic intro, and I believe no quick time event. And we get a generic theme. But there's an action sequence, and the fight is cool. I mean, it's nothing extra, but it's nice. Pretty good stuff. Ooh, Tesso. My man, Tesso. This guy... Holy shit. I think I'm gonna take this guy to S tier, just because of... Like, not just because of the fight. You get a sick-ass dynamic intro, you get an amazing track, you get an amazing setting, you get a questionable quick time event. Regardless of how I feel about the quick time event, he has a quick time event. And there's just everything in this fight. The character design, the guy himself, knowing what he's gonna become later. This is just a top tier fight. I love it. But yeah, the new quick time event system aside, this guy is amazing. I love him. And then you have this RK goon you fight. I mean, whatever. And then you fight him again in the club, but this time Akutsu is like watching and trying to lead him and get him to bring more. Better than the first one, but still whatever. And then you fight Akutsu in the apartment building. So you fight him twice, I believe, there. You fight him near one apartment, a certain apartment, and then you fight him again downstairs. Now, I really appreciate Akutsu as a villain. His first two fights definitely aren't his best, but they're still good. I enjoyed them so much. And Akutsu as a character, I really like as well. There's something about him. He has this really mean look sometimes. I don't know if you guys noticed, but a lot of times in the game, they zoom in on his face like super fucking close, and it makes you so uncomfortable. I love that. And yeah. And then we have the chainsaw fight. Maybe not the best picture, but this fight was at least A tier for me, because you have Yagami all beaten up, and then Akatsu's about to go fucking bonkers and cut you in half with the chainsaw, but then the boys come over and they help you. There's no dynamic intro, but there is a nice quick time event, an easy one compared to Tesso's. You just mash triangle. So yeah, good fight. I really enjoyed this one. Oh, and also, a small detail, but you're unable to access your phone in this fight because they throw it away before. And I thought that was a really cool attention to detail. But I believe you can find like healing items scattered, so that's nice. You have more RK goons, whatever. And then you have Soma. Oh man, Soma. I think this is gonna go to S tier as well, because holy shit. The first encounter, probably the more chilling encounter between the two of them in my opinion, because you're just trying to investigate this bar, and then out of nowhere, this guy just shows up behind you guys and stab Kaito, and immediately you feel a sense of threat, like, this guy is fucking dangerous, and I gotta be careful. And then you get to the dynamic intro that he has, fucking beautiful intro, and then the soundtrack, which further, like, amplifies that dangerousness, if you will, that he has. Like, I know I talked in the discussion video about how I feel like Soma wasn't as threatening as Kurohyou, but I didn't mean to say that Soma wasn't threatening, if that makes sense. It's just that Kurohyou had this deranged, crazy trait to him, and I guess that's what made him feel more dangerous than Soma, if that makes sense. But don't get me wrong, Soma is a menace in his own right, so I love this fight. No quick time event again, but I loved the finish to the fight, where you don't actually just beat him, you just punch him, and then like he wipes his lips and then just fucking creepily smiles and looks at you like, yikes, Soma, stop. And then you have Tesso's second fight. Now, Tesso's second fight is okay, but definitely not as good as the first one, even though it has an extension for the quick time event. The first one was just perfect in so many ways. Like I said, setting, rain, dynamic intro, so much going on. But this fight isn't bad per se, it's just that the first one was mind-blowingly, like, better and exciting. Nabe, or Watanabe, the cop. Now, this one actually came as a surprise for me, because I didn't expect Yagami to fight a cop character. One that is competent, to say the least. Like, he has 3 health bars, and he pulls out, like, this huge-ass baton from his pocket. I didn't expect that, for some reason. Maybe because I'm too used to Date, and, you know, whenever we see Date fight, let's admit, it's not the greatest display of combat, unfortunately. So, seeing a pretty competent cop in a fight like this was pretty damn cool. I only wish that he had a dynamic intro. He has a quick time event, which is pretty cool and fucking hilarious. If you fail it, he just throws you into the sea, and it's a game over. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this fight. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about it. I'm glad that this guy, like, didn't end up becoming a villain or a completely corrupt cop. He's, you know, he's that kind of guy that knows there's corruption, but, like, what can he do? It's beyond him, you know? So it's really refreshing to see someone like him. Then there's this RK guy as well, like, whatever. I think the only thing that makes me put him in C is because we get to see this fight in the Kumijo hideout, so that was pretty nice. And then we fight Kuwana once again. And while this fight doesn't actually have any quick time events, I think this is gonna be top tier for me for a few reasons. So, I believe Kuwana has like a long ass theme, but it's divided in parts. And in this fight, you get to hear the first part of that theme, which is really beautiful. No quick time events, like I said, no dynamic intro, but the way that the way that Segura and Tesso like read the atmosphere and they back off and they're like, okay, some shit is gonna go down. Let's just back off and let them deal with their own shit. That was hilarious as shit, and I don't know how to say it. Like, it just added so much more to the characters, to the scene, made it so much more amusing. And then after the fight, you see them still fighting, and Tesso and Segura look at each other and they're like, should we stop them? And Tessa's like, nah, they'll be tired soon enough. That was just so... It's a mixture of a lot of things. Wholesome, amusing, funny, endearing, so much. I love it. And yeah, this is like the beginning of the clash of ideas, I would say, between Yagami and Kuwana. So that was a nice like starter, I guess. And then we have more RK members. These guys are whatever. And then we fight Akutsu again, but this time in the club. And there's a fucking sick dynamic intro with Higashi and with Kaito. And I believe Saori, like, begins the fight. So this one is definitely S tier worthy. Fucking love this fight. I don't know what else. What is there not to love about this? Like, okay, maybe the lack of a quick time event. The dynamic intro for this fight is definitely one of the best dynamic intros of all time in the series. Like, dude, the Tendo like fucking stance that Akutsu did and all that, holy shit, just so good. And the fact that you know, get to fight alongside Kaito and Higashi just made it so much more better. So yeah, I definitely like Akutsu as a villain. Then we have more RK trash, like I don't know. I guess this one can go to C because he looks more like a unique Yakuza, and Kosuke is in that scene as well. So yeah, that's enough. And then there's this guy, more RK trash, but this fight is better because it feels like there's more at stake. Soma himself comes into the scene and he sends these guys at you. You fight alongside Kuwana, and you both have to make it out of there, so there's quite a bit going on with this fight. I actually like it. Also, is it just me, or does this guy look a bit like Ogita from Yakuza 5? Could be that they reused his face or something and edited a bit on it, but I'm not sure. I don't know, I just always think of Ogita when I look at this guy. And then we have, surprisingly, an amazing fight with generic RK members. Or at least generic for the most part. I think this is... like, this is either S or A. Like, the dynamic intro to this is so fucking beautiful and long. Like, whereas this one you had Kaito and Higashi with you, this one you have Kaito, Higashi, and Segura. Now, Kaito and Segura don't fight with you. Like, Segura is in another part fighting goons. Kaito is standing guard with two people that you save. Higashi is the only one that actually joins you in this fight. But this is just so good of a fight. Like, see, if they put effort into it, they can make even generic fights so good. Like, this is amazing. Like, even Tsukumo chimes in with the airplane and, like, the powder or whatever, like, he sprinkles. It's just... I don't know. Again, it just goes to show. Even generic goon fights can be so good if they just put in the effort, like, with this one. But yeah, and then we have more RK members. But I actually also like this one because of what happens after, you know, with the previous bullies helping you get away from the cops and go to the warehouse. Same with Tesso, that one made me smile even more. Tesso and his Lumang members stopping the cops from pursuing you, just so good. And then we have Soma. Soma's final fight. Now, you fight him twice. Once with everyone in the party, so to speak. Higashi, Kaito, Sugiura, and Kuwana, actually. So it transitions into a second phase, which starts the actual fight with Soma. And I really like that. I would probably take this... Should I take this to S or A? I'm actually not sure. Because, like, I love this fight so much, but I really wish it had more going for it in terms of quick time events. The setting was amazing, a freezer room with a slasher fucking villain kind of guy. And, can we talk about the fucking nothing personnel kid move? Holy shit, dude. That is so good. And he actually has another move that I really like, which is, when you knock him down, he kind of gets up and, like, almost immediately lunges at you with a knife. Just amazing moves that this guy has. And I really appreciate them. I guess another problem that I have with this is that they didn't make it feel like Yagami struggled much against him. But then again, I guess even against Kurohyou, Yagami didn't struggle too much. At least in the second fight. Like, he beat him with such ease, even though he was injured. He had, like, a concussion earlier. Would have been nice to see Soma kinda putting up a fight in the cutscene as well, and then Yagami gets to beat him. But, you know, it's still nice. And then we have Kuwana, final boss of Lost Judgment. God damn, the list is just huge now. Here we go, Kuwana. Kuwana is definitely S tier for me, because he's such a complicated villain. Complicated in the sense that some of you might root for him, some of you might maybe even hate him, some of you don't know if you would root for him or not root for him, you're just in the middle watching everything unfold. But, like, at the very least, I would say his motivations for everything that he did are understandable. So it made for a very compelling villain that isn't even, like, just a bad, evil villain. He's a villain in the sense that his ideas clash with Yagami's ideas. So much so that, you know, they keep talking about it again and again and again. None of them is convinced, and now it's come to a final showdown, which actually doesn't... I don't know if it solves much, but I actually kind of like that, because at the end of the day, when you try to convince someone of anything, whether it's, you know, to leave something to become a better person, whether it's, you know, anything, you can't really force someone to believe the same beliefs that you do, you know what I mean? But they did hint that at least Kuwana kinda learned something from Yagami, which is proved by when the TV news announced the location of 5 unidentified bodies, which basically means that Kuwana, you know, wants maybe to give closure to the families of the people he killed. So maybe, like, yeah, but I really like the gray morality of Lost Judgment so much, and God, I'm just speaking about the story now, aren't I? Let me speak about the fight itself. So the dynamic intro is just so full of excitement, hype, emotions, everything. It's a simple one, but just an incredible one. I love it. And the track, don't even get me started. Fucking amazing. Beautiful. Now, I do wish the quick time events or the action sequences were a bit more... what's the word? Action-y, maybe? Because it didn't feel satisfying enough. I definitely wanted to see more going on in terms of, you know, action sequences, quick time events. But I can settle for what we got. This is still a very good boss, in my opinion. And yeah, so this concludes Lost Judgment. And now we can move on to Yakuza Dead Souls, aka one of the best Yakuza games. So, now they have pretty complicated names, most of them, so I'm probably not gonna mention their names, but I am going to roughly describe what they are. So, first boss we have is a liquor look-alike, just like the ones from Resident Evil. And this is a boss for the first character that you play as, Akiyama. Now, this boss has a dynamic intro, I believe, which is relatively simple, nothing really special. So, I mean, I guess it can go to C. The second one, I believe, has a dynamic intro as well. And the context behind this is kind of better, because you fight him as Majima. The first boss that you fight as Majima. And the cutscene that happens before it is so amusing, like, he fucking just smacks this big-ass creature with his auto shotgun, and it works somehow. So I think I'm gonna take this to B. It was, I would say it's better than the Liquor boss. And then we have the return of the Liquor boss, but this one can go invisible. You fight him as Majima as well, and Daigo is with you, I believe. Not really much of an upgrade. I mean, it's just whatever. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And then you have this boss. This is Majima's final boss, I believe. And you fight him alongside Akiyama. So Majima and Akiyama working together against a big-ass, like, bug-like creature. And the quick time event that you get at the end of this is actually so fucking good. I love it. Like, Akiyama throws a grenade towards Majima, and Majima just takes his shotgun and he's like, yeah, bitch, baseball time. Boom! And it's just so satisfying. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put this in A, actually. And then we have the Tentacle boss. And of course you fight the Tentacle boss in a strip club, because why wouldn't you? I believe this is... you fight him as Ryuji. This person used to be close to Ryuji. He's the one that... He was basically Ryuji's boss at the ramen stand that Ryuji worked at. And now he's, you know, turned into this, and you have to kill him. So, pretty emotional fight. I would probably put this at least in B. Good fight, and kinda sad. And then after that, the final boss for Ryuji is recycled. It's the huge-ass creature that Majima fights, as in this one, and two of the liquors. So this one probably... I think I'll... I don't know. Because in terms of story, it's badass, because, you know, it's Ryuji against all of these, like, big monsters, and then there's a lot of zombies as well. But then, you know, I remember how the fight actually is. Like, there's just so many enemies, and I don't know if that's very enjoyable. So yeah, I think I'll just settle with having this in C. And then we have this flying boss, which I believe is Kiryu's first boss. Now... I don't know, like, how to say this, but... I believe in the highest difficulty. So, Yakuza Dead Souls is kind of unique in terms of difficulty, right? I think there's easy, normal, hard, X-hard, Dead Souls. You have an additional difficulty called Dead Souls, and holy shit. Dead Souls difficulty can fucking make you wanna rip your hair out. And this boss fight in particular, on Dead Souls difficulty, good fucking luck. You basically need to do, I don't know if I should call it an exploit or a strategy, but there's one particular place that you need to be in, and you would have to shoot the boss from there. Otherwise, if you go outside and roam, the zombies won't give you a chance. You're not gonna be able to shoot this boss at all. So yeah, I mean, it's an okay boss, but whatever. And then you have Hayashi. Zombie Hayashi. I felt like this was actually a pretty good boss as well. Because you and Kiryu, sorry. Kiryu, Ryuji, both of you fight Hayashi. And there's actually quite a bit going on in this fight. There's a dynamic intro, I believe. There's some quick time events. Fucking Hayashi steals Ryuji's gun arm and then he shoots both of you with it. So yeah, a pretty interesting boss fight. And I guess seeing how tough Hayashi is as a zombie is again a testament to how tough Hayashi actually is. Yeah, brain fart. Sorry. But yeah, this was really cool. I liked it because like after Yakuza 2, Hayashi just disappeared. You don't see him ever again. So seeing him in a zombie spin-off is actually, I mean, it's something. And the way they pulled it off is pretty cool. I like it. Because I think you also see a hint of, how do I put it, redeemability before he turns, or something like that. Because I think one of the villains called, I think DD, or D, I forgot the fucking name. They approach Hayashi, and they propose something to him, and Hayashi's like, fuck no, what the fuck are you thinking? That's like too dangerous, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But Hayashi wasn't on board. So then they infect Hayashi. Seeing this come from Hayashi, I guess, the fact that he doesn't want to do something that evil, like a zombie apocalypse, is pretty nice. But yeah. And then we get these like, basically liquors, but they try to make them look fancy and bigger, like, they're whatever, like, C or D, I don't know, like, okay, fucking, yeah, they can go to C. And then we go to this guy, what was his name again, Nikaido, I believe? Nikaido is an interesting boss fight, because if you played Resident Evil 5, you can probably kinda just feel the Wesker vibe, because when you see his dynamic intro, he like goes fucking super ultra fast, left, right, and then he tries to lunge at you. It's very reminiscent of Wesker, to say the least. And yeah, I like the dynamic intro, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't think he has like quick time events, but he has like I don't know if I should even call it phase, but he will kinda split himself into like blood pools, and then these blood pools form like blood zombies, or it's so weird. But you know what? Yeah, this is gonna go to B. Cool fight, but could have been more interesting or more fun, I guess. And then we have the final boss, also Nikaido, but just way fucking bigger now. Honestly, I don't know if I enjoyed this as much as the other ones. Like, it's okay. You get a dynamic intro, and then you get a quick time event. But I don't know. Like, I remember it being a bit annoying, because he sometimes will do like this sweep, a big ass sweep with his giant hand, and it's difficult to dodge that. But yeah, I don't remember too much. But I guess it's an okay boss. Nothing too crazy. Was there anything in S from Dead Souls? Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, so this is it for Dead Souls, and now we have Ryu Ga Gotoku Ishin. Now, I know a lot of people either love Ishin or they want to see Ishin in English. Honestly, I was actually contemplating not including Ishin in this list, but that left me with so many more questions, like how am I going to approach this list? Am I going to maybe just not include the samurai games because they're not localized, but then the Kurohyou games also weren't localized, but I love the Kurohyou games. But I decided to include the Ishin bosses because when it comes down to it, I did play this game. It was so long ago. It must have been like 6 years ago now. I never played it again because back when I played it, A very kind viewer actually lent the game to me so that I can record videos for it. So I didn't take my time with it. And honestly, I feel like the samurai games aren't as hype for me as the other games for some reason. I don't know why. But maybe like part of the reason is because I had such a difficult time in Ishin, and I don't mean like the fun kind of difficult, but it was my fault because I didn't upgrade the weapons. But I didn't know that upgrading your weapons is such an essential part of this game's gameplay. Like, I thought you could make do with the weapons you start with, and like upgrading is a luxury, and it only like makes the game just easier, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that gave me a pretty hard time when I played the game way back. So, a lot of these bosses are probably gonna go to the last category, because I remember like the general outline of the story, but I don't remember everything or every boss or why you fight these bosses. So a lot like Kurohyou. So for example, with Izo, I believe his name is Okada Izo, basically Nishiki. Can't remember what his deal was, or how he gets to be the villain that he is in this game. I believe this is Kashiwagi, masked. He's an assassin. Can't remember too much as well. And then you have the fight with Huge Man, Massive Man. I don't think I need to say anything more than this. I don't like Ryuji, but that fight? And then we fight Izo again for some reason, I don't know why. And then Saejima, what was his name in the game? Nakagura, I think, or something like that. Can't remember. And this is Katsuragi. All I remember about him is that he wants to die for some reason, so you fight him. And I'm not sure if you're the one who get to kill him, but yeah. And then you fight Izo again. Can't remember why. And then there's Kanai. I can't remember as well. And then there's Akiyama. Katsura, I think his name is in Ishin. And then there's Kondo. God, there's so much that I don't remember about this game. God damn it! Like, I apologize for the people who came here expecting me to like rate these accordingly with the other games. It's been so long since I played this game. I don't remember much of it, and I think like there's not many fights that actually have much going in them, but I could be wrong. Now, the first Majima fight, I actually remember liking this. Because there's a dynamic intro, if I remember right, and it was pretty damn sick. So this is gonna go to B. And then you fight Akiyama and Ryuji at the same time to stop them from... Because I think like Akiyama in this game, or Katsura, is a head of a faction, and so is Ryuji. I don't remember Ryuji's name. So they're fighting, and Ryoma steps into dissolve the fight. And then you have to fight both of them. So I felt like that was a pretty fun fight. It's a hand-to-hand fight, I believe. And then you fight Okita again, but I don't remember this fight as much, except that Ryoma sees Okita using this specific like stance. And this stance means a lot to Ryoma because the man who killed Ryoma's like father figure uses this fighting stance as well. And as you might have guessed, Ryoma, or Kiryu's father figure in this game, is Kazama as well. But his name is not Kazama in this game, I believe. But yeah. Don't remember much, to be honest. Now, Daigo's fight, the Shogun. So Daigo in this game is actually, I believe, the head of the entire country. He's the Shogun. I don't know if it's the entire country or just a region, but he's a big deal, basically. And I really like this fight, actually. You might not have, like, guessed it, but the setting of this fight is so beautiful. the soundtrack, the serene, quiet soundtrack, and then you have like the ninjas serving under Daigo acting as the walls of the fight, just bowing down to their shogun. It's so symbolic, dude. I fucking love it. And I think I was talking earlier about Han Joon-gi's second fight and why it reminded me of Daigo's fight in Ishin. This is why. Daigo has underlings, Han Joon-gi has underlings, and they both like stand down in respect to their leader. It's just so good. I love it. And I believe if I had to add a bit more to this, Kurohyou and Majima, like before you reach Daigo, Kurohyou and Majima have a long fight together to get a message to the Shogun, which is Daigo. And I believe the message consisted of like dissolving the social rankings to make people more equal, because you know the social ranking system wasn't really doing the society any favors, so they wanted to get rid of that, and in order to propose that, I believe they approached Daigo. But I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I remember, at least. And then there's Watase, but yeah, don't remember much. Aizawa, don't remember much. Now this fight, I don't know if this is expected, but this is, in my opinion, hands down the best fight in Ishin. Like, holy shit. The nostalgia, the climactic nature of this fight, the rendition of For Whose Sake of this fight, it's so good, dude. And I believe this is a fight to the death, not like, you know, the Yakuza games where they're like, Kakate koi, we're gonna fight to the death, but you don't actually fucking kill anyone. This one is a fight to the death. You have to kill Izo here. So it made that fight feel so much more impacting. And again, the fact that you have this rendition of For Whose Sake, and basically it's Kurohyou versus Nishiki, but during the samurai days, it's just so good. I love it. And then and then there's Hayashi, but he's not looking as good. And then there's Saejima again, Mine, or Hijikata, I believe his name is. You fight Majima again, I can't remember. Watase again. You fight Hamazaki, Samurai Hamazaki. And Andre Richardson as a British arms dealer, I believe. Like, this was amazing, but I wish they could have done more with it. Because I believe, like, he just really... You stumble upon him before the final battle, and he's just like, yeah, I'm standing in your way, so you have to fight me. But yeah, I really like this. You know what? Let's actually put this in B. And then we have the final boss. I know that a lot of people like the final boss, but I can't remember enough except that there's a rivalry between him and Ryoma. So, like, this guy set off on the wrong path or something, and he's killing people. I can't remember much, to be honest. And you kind of have to stop him and show him, like, his wrongdoings. Has a dynamic intro, has transitions from one place to another, has QuickTime events. But honestly, it didn't leave as much of an impact on me as, you know, some of the other games. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. But, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that if you like this boss as an S tier that you're wrong. Again, this list is subjective. I'm just, like, doing this for fun. Purely based off of my memory. I can't remember too much of this boss. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. I'm not dissing the boss. I'm just saying I don't remember enough, or it didn't stick with me as much as with someone else, and that's completely fine. You know what I mean? So, with this, holy shit, we've come to an end to this tier list. Now, I'm just gonna go through the tier list slowly so that you can examine it if you want to. Okay, all done? All done. Just pause, like, if you need to see anything specific, but... we have finally reached the end of this video. Holy shit, I've spent, like, looking at the time right now, almost exactly 4 hours just talking about every single boss in this series. Holy shit. So once again, I want to say I did this purely for fun. So I hope you guys just enjoyed, you know, hanging out and just listening to me talk about different Yakuza bosses, because really that's just the aim more than anything. I just want to give you guys, you know, some kind of a video to just listen to in the background while you're, I don't know, cooking or just chilling, or you know what I mean. Just something, you know, to listen to, like a radio show. But yeah, this is basically my thoughts on every single boss in the series. This is like 309 entries. I numbered them in the folder with all of these screenshots. I had to take screenshots of every single boss and number them accordingly, so I ended up with 309. But yeah, oof, what a video. So, I just want to say at the end, I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed talking about all of this. And if you made it to the end without skipping, might I say, then congratulations, you are a champ, and I appreciate that you actually watched all of this. And yeah, that's all I have to say. If you have any thoughts, any comments, any character you want to discuss, anything really, just, you know, talk about it in the comments below. Okay, just one more thing I want to do is I want to give a special thanks to these wonderful people who are supporting me with the Hannya level. Axeo Seilez, X2009, Miyuron, Kaizer Redgrave, Rufus, Extreme Reaper, When Idiots Play Games Together, Lisa Medcalf, Kei Naoyuki, Dylan Writings, and there's one name I can't pronounce, I am sorry. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, and thank you, the viewer, for watching this. Again, I hope you had something of a fun watch with this, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Peace!